happy hump day, everybody. Good to see you again, wherever you are, however you may be listening. Thanks for making us part of your day. I thought today was Thursday, the whole morning, and I was making plans to pick up my daughter and schedule a time to go to the trampoline park, and then realized about an hour and a half ago that today is Wednesday. So that's pretty cool. I do hats. I got to upgrade the hats. I haven't got new hats in a long time. It may be time. Good morning, Jennifer.
Good morning.
I meant to tell you, I like this. I like this new thing you're doing.
What's that?
Instead of a thumbs up, when I text you, you're giving me the green check mark. I like that better.
So, okay. Fun fact about me. If I ever give you a thumbs up, it's not a good thing.
Oh no. Oh, you've given me so many thumbs ups.
I don't. I've never. No, if you go back and look, I don't do thumbs ups. Is
that true?
It's a passive aggressive thing. If I
go back and I find thumbs, oh, there's one. Oh no, that's you that's you screenshotting a text from somebody else.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, I mean, I've
done it every once in a blue moon. But I found the green check, so I'm able to go around.
That's your workaround.
Yeah. If I give someone a thumbs up, it's a complete sarcastic, like okay, good job.
Oh, that makes sense. The first thumbs up I found was me saying I was going to be 15 minutes late. There's a thumbs up. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, like I think Swish said, it's like saying K.
Oh, that's brutal. K's a nightmare. Feels good to K. Doesn't it feel good to K somebody though sometimes?
Oh yeah. 100%.
Feels really nice. They give you like a long drawn out explanation. You just hit them with a K. It feels good.
No, I don't do thumbs ups because it's not something positive. There was someone I was I don't know if you want to call it dating, talking to, or whatever, and I told him that the thumbs up thing, and we had a conversation, and I did reply to him with a thumbs up, and he's like, oh, like I got an apology almost instantly.
So that's now you know. What if he doesn't give the apology? Is it like, do you give him a double thumbs up?
No, you
ghost him.
Just know that I don't agree, or that I'm not cool with whatever happened. So yeah, that's a fun fact about me. I don't do thumbs up.
Admir's here. Admir, what are you doing here? Where's all your racist friends? Whatever that weird racist was. What's her name? The one that tried to get me to debate on her channel?
Natalie.
Yeah. Like, do you want to come to my channel and have some debates? It's like, hell no. Oh no, I absolutely do not want to come to your channel and have a debate.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that.
Good morning, Admir, and good morning to the rest of you guys as well. Sorry for the sniffing. I'm going to try and mute. I got my allergies kicked in today, and I think I have a cold at the same time. It's rough. So I got Ricolas, I got Claritin, I've got water, and I've got tea. So we're going to make it through this.
So you're just going to be a giant man baby.
I would say prepared. I would say just prepared.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And also a baby. Yeah. Everybody here knows I'm not tough. Nobody's ever like, have you ever seen RTP? That guy's tough. Nobody ever says that.
No, that's not a. You have your throat coat.
I've been throat coating all morning. My throat has been sufficient. I've 2 or 3 times I've coated my throat this morning. So
it's been very coated. Well, that's good. I'm glad you have your throat coated.
Thank you.
No concern.
While we're talking about your dating life, is there anything you want to talk about?
Stupid. You don't want to do this.
No, I don't.
You don't want to do this. You get upset every time I
You're
say things. You get upset. So
you're right. Yep, my bad.
My one.
So, Jake Lang is live in a Minnesota courthouse? No way. Jen, go ahead.
He got arrested again, I think.
This dude. There's got to be something. You know how like some people are just like, there's something wrong with Jake Lang. There's something wrong with all racists, but like Jake Lang there's especially something wrong. I fear there's some PTSD stuff there, and I don't know. He does
His
some
mom probably
bonkers things.
Love him.
Is this what it is? Let's see. This is him. Was he in court again today? What did he do?
Hired you to do this stuff or what?
I know.
I know that God
he
saved
got
me
arrested again.
Oh yeah, you guys can't see that. Let's see.
from that ridiculous weaponization and the predicament I was in with the Democrats trying to destroy my life for a reason. And you know, I'm looking to do everything I can to serve God's kingdom and fight for
it's
America.
for God. Oh, good. It's for God. Did you know that, Jen? I didn't know this was for God.
No,
I had no idea.
I didn't.
I thought he was doing it for the Nazis. I didn't know it was for God.
Yeah,
That's what
I'm not listening because when I'm in here, I can't hear the actual stream. But
oh yeah,
kicking over that obvious graffiti. That I thought it was graffiti. I thought it was an anti-law enforcement. You know?
Oh yeah, that was his big boy kicks when he kicked over the ice sculptures. This guy is and who's this dude with him? Like Dog the Donut Hunter? Who is that dude?
Oh, like somebody spray painting "fuck the police" on the side of a bank. A good citizen goes outside with a bar of soap and a scrubber and washes off graffiti that's anti-law enforcement. And so that's what I thought I was doing. I had no idea that some idiotic local organization paid $6,000 for that monstrosity. And honestly, I think we should be billing them. Brian, this is my attorney.
Oh, it's your attorney. This homeless man is his attorney. He looks good. His 12-foot long tie. Oh no. Oh no.
Brian, care of high school.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
Tex just messaged me.
Oh.
Do I know that Jake Lang is actually Jewish?
I don't care. Why does Tex always think that somebody being Jewish means that they can't be a Nazi?
Well, the thing that I find a little funny about this is Good Trouble went around and said that they and I don't know the terminology. What's the is it a bar mitzvah?
Yeah, bar mitzvah. Is Tex just like gatekeeping the Nazis? He doesn't want to. Is this the problem? Does he want to bring up that Jake Lang's Jewish because he doesn't want Jake Lang as part of his group? Is that what Tex is doing here? He doesn't want any Jewish people in his group.
He's not accepted by that group because of that.
Wait, so hold on. So is Tex just saying is Tex a Nazi now? Is he openly saying that?
I don't know. Tex,
this is weird. This is a weird conversation. He's like, no, he's not one of us. Oh, okay. All right, but if he's not part of your group, that's fine.
He hasn't replied back on that, but but yeah. Anyways, I mean, I guess attorneys can look sketchy. So
I doubt he's a good attorney. I don't know. I have this sneaking suspicion that you don't need a good attorney. This is an open and shut case. If you went in there and you were like, my defense is I thought these ice sculptures were graffiti. We should go back and show that.
Brian Corral
we should go back to him kicking them over.
When he was doing his real alpha move.
Yeah, dude, can't lift he can't kick above his own knee. He's so inflexible. Here it is. This was his.
Our country was made for Americans, not for Somalis.
Ooh, I wore 2 different colors of camo.
Yeah!
Oh!
Yeah! Get him, boys! Pow!
Pro-ice, baby! America first, America only! We'll see you here, February 7th, Saturday, 12 noon, outside the Minnesota State Capitol.
He's so out of breath. He threw 4
President Trump.
8 kicks, baby. Just absolutely out of breath.
Yeah,
Alpha.
that's the elite race of people, I guess.
Namasi said she puts the new boot goof and pick in the Discord. Yeah.
Oh yeah, here.
Yeah, I love that. That's my favorite show of all time.
Here, I dropped it in our chat.
Favorite comedy of all time for sure. Oh, they did. They put it with that. I hadn't actually seen that one yet. That's good. Jesus. MAGA has gotten silly. Like you guys are just left with silliness. Nobody takes you seriously anymore. Well, you're welcome. We're welcome, Kirsten. You know, some of us have too much moisture, so we'll dry you out from time to time.
Yeah.
She said, "Sir, you just dried me up." How do you respond to that?
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's, yeah. I mean, we can get going on the show.
All right.
So, since we're getting going on TikTok, looks like we're got people coming in. So if we want to get the likes up to, let's say, 25K likes over on TikTok, repost, like the stream, share, all that kind of stuff for TikTok, so we can hopefully stay there. We did figure out that Jay changed a setting. That's why we weren't live on TikTok yesterday, but we fixed it.
We don't, hold on. We don't know that for sure.
We do know that.
You might know that. I don't know that for sure. I'm keeping it up in the air. It was somebody messed up, and I think it was Streamlabs, most likely.
Okay. Well, like I said, your lie, you tell it.
Thank you.
So, anyways, get those likes up on TikTok. Like I said, share, repost, all that kind of good stuff. If you are not a paid subscriber or member on wherever you're watching, please become one, because we have members-only events. We have one upcoming this Monday. This is going to be a silly question, but did you look in our mod chat for one of the recommended movie choices? Did you see that yesterday?
For sure. Yeah, let me just refresh my memory. I forgot I had a bunch of stuff I had to get done yesterday. It was the regular mod chat, or was it the TikTok mod chat?
Yeah, the regular one.
All right. There's only one recommendation.
Yeah, that's one of the recommendations.
2073. I probably can't show that trailer because it's on HBO. What is it? What's 2073?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I honestly don't know.
All right. Well, I'll look at the trailer after. That might be one.
So we have a movie night or things we do on this upcoming Monday. So if you're a paid member, you can join us for that. Wherever you're watching. If you're on Twitch, you can use your Amazon Prime sub and use Bezos' money, not your own. Or if you're a paid member on YouTube, you can join us for that as well. If you guys disagree with RTP, you can actually come up and have a conversation. The Venmo username is the same as my Discord. Send me a message on Discord and I can bring you on. Check out the link tree in the bio. We're on most social media platforms. We got merch. Jay's on Cameo. We upload these episodes to Spotify. And I didn't mention the gift goal, but we have that gift goal each day so that we can keep the lights on, the show going. This is our job, as much as people disagree and don't like it. So we need to hit that each day so that we can keep doing what we do. You know what? One thing that always makes me barf or throw up.
No.
A dartboard on the ceiling.
No. That might be your worst one. That might be the worst one.
You say that all the time.
I know, but I can't ever remember the other ones. I just know that one's bad.
Do you want another one then?
Sure.
Another one.
Yeah.
I found out Al Gore's a great dancer.
Oh, how?
It's on his algorithm.
I do like that one. All right. Thanks, Jen. All right, let's talk about the election results last night. You head over to 270 to win. There were special elections, primary elections in North Carolina, in Texas, and in Arkansas. So I want to show some of those. No real surprises for the Republicans in the Senate Republican primary. Michael Whatley ran away with it. I was surprised. I really thought like Michelle Morrow would make a little more noise there, but I guess not. Roy Cooper overwhelmingly won. He's the favorite there, so no surprise there. I did, though. I started going through some of these races. The first one was Raymond Smith, and what I wanted to look at, because I wasn't familiar with a lot of these candidates. Normally, heading into the midterms, we would have done a lot more research, but Donald Trump is president, and he tries to end the world like every other day, so we haven't had a lot of time. So I wanted to go through to see like what was the winning message. So we have here Raymond Smith against Allison Joslow, and I went over to Raymond Smith's platform because I have this contention that I think running, and Republicans always get mad, but I think that running on universal health care and getting money out of politics is a winning message. So I wanted to see if anybody's running on that. Here's Raymond Smith's platform. Just generically here, fighting corruption and promoting good government. Right now, it seems like everything in Congress is controlled by billionaires, lobbyists, and special interest groups. North Carolina are suffering because of it. It's time that we push major campaign finance reform, bring an end to Citizens United, and ban stock trading for members of Congress. That's huge. Everybody's going to love that one. Lowering costs for working families. I don't know exactly what his plan is there. Doesn't look, it wasn't super specific there, but focusing on affordability, job creation, infrastructure, quality, accessible healthcare. And he says here he'll work to build a healthcare system that brings down costs, expands access, and makes quality care affordable. Now, you'll see this from a lot of Democrats talking about expanding access, and they'll also be talking a lot about expanding Medicare and Medicaid, but then working across the aisle to reform the healthcare system to put patients over profits, expanding healthcare access in rural areas while keeping care affordable. That's generic. I don't think you can really do anything about it unless you change to single payer. I don't think there's a lot that anybody can run on there. And then public education. So good message. One for two there, which I thought was good. If we scroll down here, this one's close, and this is an interesting race. This is Valerie Fouché versus Nida Alam. And Nida Alam is, I believe she's a member of the DSA. I'm not 100% sure on that, but we're probably going to get a recount here because it is so close. But Nida Alam, who kind of came out of nowhere, and she closed the gap late as she showed that the AI companies were funneling money into Valerie Fouché, who, I don't know if I'm saying that right, by the way. And that's a big deal in North Carolina. It's pretty unpopular now to try and build a data center anywhere. People know the implications of that. And so taking a bunch of money from these big tech companies isn't very popular. And she helped close the gap with that, but also ran on some good ideas. Dark Eagle said, thank you for all you do. Thank you, Dark Eagle. Let me pull up her... That's not it. Shit, did I not save hers? Shoot, hold on one second. Let me go to her webpage. I think it's this one. There we go. Now, obviously can't run as a Republican woman wearing a hijab. That's a problem. I think she was also endorsed. Was she the one that got late endorsement from AOC? I can't remember. I feel like she got a late endorsement. Maybe didn't make it to. Does anybody know if she was the one? She did. She's the one that got the late endorsement, right? Thank you. Oh, there we go. NC Blue Dot. She is the one. Great. We go here and look at the stuff that we care about that I think is going to be important. We can go down to healthcare. Our healthcare system is broken and failing to meet the needs of most vulnerable in our society, and our leaders are not rising to the occasion. Our current healthcare system might work for insurance company executives, but it doesn't work for working families in our district. And with Donald Trump and the GOP's cuts to Medicare, Medicaid, and the Affordable Care Act, the situation will become more dire unless we change course. I believe healthcare is a human right, not a privilege. It's huge. I support Medicare for all, which would ensure that everyone can receive the healthcare they need. That endorsement and this push for Medicare for all and changing the healthcare system is incredibly, incredibly important. If we go down to protecting democracy, I'm committed to passing the Freedom to Vote Act, the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, to guarantee every American's right to cast a ballot. We must end, again, Citizens United. Yeah. Mormons are Christians. I don't know why you think Mormons aren't Christians, but I know. This is what I tell my Mormon friends, though, all the time that are Republicans. It's like they'll come for you eventually. Like they're allowing you into the group, but eventually, like when they need a scapegoat, it'll be you. You'll be the scapegoat there. But I don't know how you can not be a Christian, believe in the Bible, and believe in Jesus.
Well, it's we decide who's Christians.
All right. Was there anybody else in North Carolina I want to cover? Oh yeah, Jamie Ager. Ager. Is that the right one? Pass it. Oh yeah, James. It's James Ager here, but it's Jamie Ager. Another big win there, runaway win for Jamie Ager there. And let's look at the platform. We go making quality healthcare more affordable. I'll support robust Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security so the folks at risk in our communities have the support they need. Let's have robust Medicare services that allow folks to age with dignity. I'll defend Medicare's power to negotiate, and I'll push for a public option so everybody has access to quality, affordable health care. Works. I really like this. This is what they should run on. I think they're going to be too afraid to run on it. But maybe if they can learn anything from these midterms, you can see that what Democrats want, and turnout's huge for Democrats, is they want ending Citizens United and they want universal health care. That's not Medicare for all. But yes, it is. He literally said Medicare for all. Didn't he? Or single payer? What did he say exactly? The last person said Medicare for all. Let me go back. Maybe I missed that. Where is... I'll push for a public option. That'd be Medicare for all. A public option would still be Medicare for all, right? You can opt out of it and get private. I see what you're saying, though, that it wouldn't be necessary. Like, you could opt out of it. Okay, I see. That's probably what you're saying, right? Is that you can, because you can opt out of it, it's not Medicare for all? Okay, gotcha. I see what you're saying. Yeah, you're right about that. Still better, right? Still like having a public option there. The thing about having a public option as well is it would be cheaper. No, it's awful. That's not awful. It's better. It's not perfect, but having a public option is better than no public option. Especially when you get to then compare the public option versus the private option. And I don't even know how you do that. I guess you could support a public option and still require the tax. It depends on how you're paying for it. If you're paying for it directly through income taxes, then you'd be able to opt out. But if you're paying through it or for it through like speculative taxes and employment taxes, tax on the 1%, then I guess I'd be okay with it. I guess it just depends on like how you're going to fund it. Then the rich will lobby to control what the Medicare for all is. It's not great. Yeah, not great for sure. For sure, not great. Better though. I like as long as it can be funded correctly, right? Like as long as you're not getting as long as you're not setting up a scenario where it's going to just fail and they're going to use it as a prop to say like single payer doesn't work. But yeah, you're right. Just have it basic coverage, and folks can have an option to buy additional supplemental coverage. Do you know what his official stance was there? NC Blue Dot, by chance, James Ager. I mean, that was a little blurry there. All right. Then we went to Texas. I think a lot of us are a little bummed out that Tallarico beat Crockett. However, if you're going to have somebody beat Crockett, Tallarico's a pretty good option. I wasn't surprised. I thought that Tallarico was going to win from the start. I was a little surprised that it wasn't closer. It looked like polls were closing with Crockett like making a late surge. There was obviously some fuckery in Dallas. There's a bunch of videos, but I found this one from Susie Rizzo here, just a quick clip. This we saw all over Dallas, and this is something that we're going to have to expect come the general election for the midterms.
Place where I live is far away, and I just wanted to vote here and get back to work, and she told me she wouldn't let me. I was hoping she'll just let me go in. She said I'm at the wrong place. I can't vote here.
I've always voted here, say, 8 years in a row now. I've come to this location, but now they're telling me that I need to go to another location to vote.
Did they explain why?
No, they didn't explain why. And then when I went online yesterday, because I knew they were going to try to do this, I went yesterday online to register and everything like that to find out where my poll is, and it got me nowhere.
Yeah. Lots of people finding out when they got there that they couldn't vote. Most of them said they were going to go vote somewhere else, but that's the type of fuckery you can expect from Republicans. Melissa said, my dad forgot to pay you for the throat coat. Thanks for that reimbursement. Ty says, daylight savings this week changes showtime. Oh, shit, what do we do with it? Because my time doesn't change. So, yeah, it'll change. We'll start at 9:30 Pacific.
I feel like we just had a time change.
I thought the time change was in April. Daylight, it doesn't say. It's not this week, right?
I saw something on my calendar. I'll go look, but I remember seeing that not too long ago on a calendar of mine. And check our my DMs.
Gotcha. John, you asked this question. I think it was you all day yesterday. Do I support women's rights in Iran? I support women's rights everywhere. And I support girls' rights to go to school and not be murdered also. I'm so tired of Republicans asking this question. Like, you don't get to use that against us like you care about women's rights. Of course we're not going to accept indiscriminately bombing and regime change wars because the Iranian women are oppressed. Like, it's such a stupid, but we'll get to Iran in a little bit. But it's not the gotcha that any of you think it is. It's in March. It is Sunday. Didn't it used to be in April? I swear it was always April and October.
I felt like it feels like it's sooner, but I did notice it on my calendar. And I think before we didn't change it. I think we go back to normal. So if is it spring forward? So,
I can't move it backwards. It's gonna have to say it's gonna have to change because I have
so we'll move forward for everybody else but Arizona.
Yeah, I have a change in my custody, so I have her overnights during the week more now, and so I can't really. It's actually a nice change for me to go to 9:30. That'll give me a little time, so I can't change that. All right.
Chelsea, I don't know if you saw my DM, but Chelsea offered to come up and chat about what happened with Dallas. I sent you some screenshots. So.
Yes. Yeah. Just bring her up when she wants to. I don't know anything about it. If she wants to come up now, that works actually because we're still talking about Texas. While she's bringing up Chelsea, let me just show you this. These are the 4 districts that they tried to redistrict in gerrymandering attempts by the GOP. You can see here it appears to have backfired, at least in turnout. These are the 4 again that were gerrymandered. Democrat turnout was much higher than Republican turnout in all of these, including specifically in Congressional District 28, where 66,000, an extra 60,000 people. The one thing that Republicans have consistently done since they took office is alienate other Republicans. Nobody else. It's not like they were going to win over Democrats, but they have just consistently alienated their own voting base. And nobody's excited. Who the fuck is excited to go out for Ken Paxton? I was looking at every single person. Like, I started going through the Republicans' platforms. Here's an example. This is Laurie Buckout in North Carolina. Who the fuck is going to get excited for this? This is the most generic platform, and everybody has the same one. Securing our border. Isn't it the most secure that it's ever been? Isn't that what you guys say? Fixing our broken economy. And what are you going to fix? The Biden-Harris agenda created devastating inflation rates. Okay. Laurie will fight for working families who can't afford another year of rising costs at the gas pump and grocery store. How? What are you guys going to do? She knows what it's like to balance a budget and create jobs. Nothing. I'm just going to keep fighting. All that means is cutting taxes. This just means that she's going to try and cut taxes. Protect the Second Amendment, which is so under attack. So under attack. Supporting our nation's military. Cool. Unless it's for like VA. Supporting our veterans. Cool. Unless it's the VA. Lead on technology and AI. We'll sell out your cities to data centers. That's everybody. It's every Republican. What would do we have Republicans here? What gets you excited about this? Which part of this platform is exciting to you? It doesn't get dark at 7:30 where I'm at in the summer. I don't have daylight savings in Arizona, Richard. Depends on where you live, I guess. It still gets dark here like 8:30 or 9, somewhere around there. Bronx, while you're upset there, can you tell me what part of this you're excited about? I know that I'm boring, but which part of these issues and priorities excite you while we wait for our guest here?
She's here. You're here.
Hey, Chelsea, what's up?
Hello. How's it going?
Good. This is Political Mom. I know you guys can't see her, but everybody say hi to Political Mom. You can follow Political Mom at Political Mom on TikTok and probably other places, right?
Yeah, I have YouTube and Instagram.
Boom. Well, tell me what happened in Dallas.
Okay, so Dallas County has always done an election day where you can go to any polling location in the county. But this year, the Dallas County Republican Party chair decided that he was not going to work with both parties. So they actually had to have separate party elections being run in the same county. So instead, we had to have assigned polling locations for the primary on
I-
election day.
I thought I heard something about this too. Like there's like if they didn't get all the votes counted by the end of the night, it was like a misdemeanor. Is that true?
Yeah, so what happened was normally I could just go wherever I wanted to go for voting, which I did. And then I was told that I was not at the right polling location and that I have an assigned polling location. But when you tried to access the website to find out what your polling location was, it was down all day. So people had to stand in line. I stood in line for an hour just to
Jesus.
find out I was in the wrong place. Everybody did. So at 7 o'clock, when the polls were supposed to close in Dallas County, the Democrats went and filed a motion with a Dallas judge to extend it for 2 hours so that people could find out what their polling location was, get to a polling location. Well, at the same time, Ken Paxton, who is on the ballot, went to the Texas Supreme Court and filed a motion to have all of those votes after 7 p.m. Held and withheld from being counted, which is exactly what happened. So anybody that voted after 7 p.m., their votes were not counted. And that is what Jasmine Crockett is upset about, because that is a disenfranchise. And they only targeted Dallas County and Harris County to do this too, but they only were managing to do that in Dallas County
What's
by
the
the time the primary rolled around.
is that like a high black
They're both
and Hispanic area?
Democratic.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, but they're both democratically populated areas.
Well, I was just wondering because I think I was looking at polling coming in, and Jasmine Crockett I think she was winning like 80% of the black vote, and so if you're doing that in areas where there's a high black vote, then obviously that's going to be disproportionately affect her.
It was probably the weirdest vote I've ever conducted, because when you went into these polling locations, you have to because it's an open primary, so I can vote in whichever one I want.
Oh.
But this time they have to out you. They ask you which ballot you want, but then you have to go to a stand that literally has it paraded around. They're all labeled. Democratic stands over here, big banners over here that say Democrat. It's not like normal where they just hand you a ballot, you decide on that ballot, and then you kind of just go to a normal, area and vote. It was weird. It was the weirdest system I've ever seen.
I would be interested to hear from the Republicans that went out and have to deal with this. Do they are they happy with this? Are they happy with a situation now where they're not sure where they get to vote? I can't imagine anybody being pumped about having to wait in line for an hour, and then if you're at the wrong place, to solve a problem that doesn't exist.
Both voters.
Yeah.
I was I don't know why people on the Republican side would be happy about this. This was disenfranchising both voters and their ability to be able to go vote. And if you stood in that line for a long time and then they were like, yeah, your vote doesn't count, I'd be pissed.
I just think it's even more it is voter suppression. We know that, but it's just even more evidence of the incompetence and the depravity of the ideologues that are running these elections for Republicans now. They've just left reality. They don't fucking care anymore. They're so desperate to prove that the 2020 election was stolen so that Trump will throw them an attaboy that they create all this chaos now. For what fucking reason? They've never been able to point to what the problem is. They just wake up and scare their voters, and their voters are bitches, and so their voters are like, I'm scared, and then they just allow all this shit to happen. But there's no
they
rhyme
said
or
they were
reason to any
having
of it.
staffing issues. There was no staffing issues at any of the polling locations I went to. There was a full-on staff on each side of the auditoriums that I went to. And so I don't know what staffing issues they said they were citing to why they couldn't conduct a two-party normal primary that we've been doing for years and years and years. So, I mean, we've been doing the same type of one since 2015.
Cool state.
So,
cool state you have
yeah.
there.
Oh, it's so great. It's amazing. I can't imagine anything better.
All right.
Than
Well,
this cesspool.
you want to make everybody mad and tell them that you voted for Tallarico, or what do you want to do?
I didn't. But I did think that there wasn't, judging by there's certain counties that are purple out here. Collin County is right above me. I'm in Dallas County, but Collin County is right above, and they're always what I look at to like judge where we're going to be at, because they swing kind of in the middle in elections. And so I saw them start to go towards Tallarico, and I was like, oh, that's like a good indication. So when I went back and I looked at the votes, they went for Tallarico. And so I was like,
he's a hard guy not to vote for. Like you said, I mean, it's rare that Texas has two really good options. And you did. Those are two of the best options in the country. I think people rightfully get to be bitter about Tallarico for not sticking to the plan. I don't remember who was going to run for what, but I think Crockett was going to run for Senate.
He was supposed to run for governor.
Governor, yeah. And then what was Beto going to run for? I can't remember.
I don't know if he was actually going to run, because now I heard that Ted Cruz is going to be appointed to this Supreme Court. So that would
of our country?
Yeah. Trump came out the other day and endorsed Ted Cruz for the Supreme Court.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Well, I think of it as like a positive for me, but a detriment to the country. So I don't know whether to feel sorry for myself and the rest of the country, or feel good that he'll be out of my state and not fleeing it every 2 seconds. So
I don't know if he'll make it through confirmation. He's the most hated person in Washington. Everybody fucking hates him. But maybe they'd vote to confirm him just to get him out of the Senate. I don't know. That's a tough one.
That's what Trump even cited as his reasoning. So
I do remember
think
that statement now. Yeah, what Trump was. Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, and I think that's a crazy revelation. So yeah, that would be his appointment, would be Ted Cruz. And then that would open up another Senate seat.
Poor Mike Lee. Mike Lee's been sucking that dick so hard, and Ted Cruz is just going to come in and get the Supreme Court nominee. Sorry, Mike Lee.
Yeah, no, Mike doesn't stand a chance. He's from Utah. I mean,
how dare
he
you?
wasn't going to get the love. They're not abiding by that redistricting map that Trump so wants to go in his favor.
Yeah.
So until they do that, he's not giving them no love.
Okay.
Not for Mike Lee, not for anybody. I'm sorry.
Stupid. Well. All right. Well, thanks, Chelsea. It's good talking to you.
Of course. Anytime.
Right. We'll talk to you later.
Hey, bye.
Bye. Everybody go follow Political Mom on whatever streaming platform you're watching right now. She's great. She does a lot of deep dives. Catch her when she's live. Very educated, very well thought out opinions. And W Political Mom for joining us today. All right. I'm going to skip through the elections. This was not what I expected to wake up to today. I most of the time I can figure out what's going on with Donald Trump. This one, you guys might need to help me out with. I don't know what happened here.
But some of the European, like Spain, has been terrible. In fact, I told Scott to cut off all dealings with Spain. Spain, first of all, it started when every European nation, at my request, paid 5%, which they should be doing. And everybody was enthusiastic about it, Germany, everybody. And Spain didn't do it. And now Spain actually said that we can't use their bases, and that's all right. We could use their base if we want. We could just fly in and use it.
Are we just gonna do are we just doing the World War, guys? Are we just doing this? Fuck consent. Spain is not obligated to pay 5% of GDP for NATO. They're obligated to pay 2%. That's their agreement. Spain's like, we don't want to go into debt to fund NATO. What if we just tried to stay out of wars? Trump's like, nah, we got to do wars. And then Spain said, we're not really interested in you guys bombing Iran because it doesn't make any fucking sense, which is a sentiment held by Republicans and Democrats all across this country. TikTok went down. Wow. What? I played one clip of Trump and TikTok went down? What'd they get me for?
Misinformation.
For playing Trump? I played 1 second. That's incredible. Fuck TikTok. Good. I can say whatever I want now. What are we doing though with Spain? Why are we having this fight? And also, I don't think Trump knows that he can't do what he's saying. One, his tariffs have been ruled unconstitutional, these IEPA tariffs. And two, Spain is part of something called the European Union. They do trade together. You can't cut off one European Union country. They can just run it through the European Union. I don't know what he thinks he's going to do here. I know what he told Scott Bessant to do, but Trump may not be aware of what the European Union is.
Nobody's going to tell us not to use it, but we don't have to. But
no, but nobody's. It's their base. What do you mean nobody's going to tell you that you can't use their base. I swear to God, like you could make a more compelling argument that Donald Trump is working for Vladimir Putin than he is the American people. He is doing everything he possibly can to undermine every alliance that keeps Russia from taking over Europe. How's this for us? Why is this for us?
They were unfriendly. And so I told him we don't want to. Spain has absolutely nothing that we need other than great
olive oil, wine.
People. They have great people, but they don't have great leadership. And as you know, they were the only country that in NATO would not agree to go up to 5%. I don't think they would have agreed to go up to anything. They wanted to keep it at 2%, and they don't pay the 2%. So we
come arrest me, Google fears. You could arrest me. Stop saying we. Who was it? That dipshit Ryan commented on something the other day. Like, are you we're still winning? It's like, bitch, you guys aren't. You're not we. You're cheerleaders. You're just watching from the sidelines. You can't do shit. He could arrest me if he wanted to, and there may come a time when Trump just starts arresting everybody who's not in the cult. But you guys that are just cheerleaders, stop pretending you're part of this. You're just watching like the rest of us.
We're going to cut off all trade with Spain. We don't want anything to do with Spain.
All right. So I guess we're mad at Spain now. I guess fuck Spain. Just cuss. Just wake up and Donald Trump said, they weren't very nice to me. We're cutting off trade with Spain, which he can't do. So I don't know. You guys tired of having this dipshit as your leader yet? Or no? You complained when he used Venezuela after taking their leader? Yep, I did. I still am. I don't think we should kidnap world leaders. I don't think we should invade other countries. I still hold true to that. You guys used to believe that until Trump won and started doing it. He campaigned on not doing that, and then he started doing it. You're like, I've completely changed my mind on this. Trump made a good point when he did this without telling me about it. Now I support it blindly. We ended with Christy Gnome yesterday, but there's some more stuff that came through, and I got the full clip of Tom Tillis, so we're going to revisit that as well. But Christy Gnome had a bad day. Here's Sheldon Whitehouse putting on the leash and just dog walking Christy Gnome.
Now, Ms. Gnome, I want to walk you through an incident that took place in Rhode Island. We have a courthouse in Rhode Island, our Superior Court. The court had an agreement with your organization not to conduct operations.
Sorry, real quick. I actually was behind. I need to read comments. I'm so sorry. Then I'll start that over before I forget. Brianna said, sicker than a dog today with it coming out both ends. Call it the I flu tower. Jesus. Asa Sophia said, I need to send you new hats that fit better for your outfits. Thank you, Asa Sophia. Yeah, the red and blue together. I didn't have anything to go with that. Illusion said, DJT will do anything he wants until he's stopped. Yeah, true. Oslo said, movie night rec, wag the dog, read the synopsis. I've seen, that's a good one. I think one of my other choices was War Dogs, which is also timely. Amy Lynn said, Trump is known for not getting consent. It might be what he's best known for. And Dark Eagle said, thanks for all you do. I'm missing from Jen. Amber said, we can change things with private healthcare if we socialize the companies the way Trump has been doing with U.S. Steel, NVIDIA, and others. Ooh, good idea. Play his hits back to him. Yeah. And James said, it's my birthday. Can I get a happy birthday, you big dumb bitch? Everybody in the chat wish James a happy birthday. And James, you are a big dumb bitch. Thanks for being here. Great to have you. All right. Start this over.
Place in Rhode Island. We have a courthouse in Rhode Island, our Superior Court. The court had an agreement with your organization.
I said Trump also said his dad was born in the UK. I saw that.
Not to conduct operations in that courthouse. Despite that agreement, your officers went in to conduct operations in that courthouse. They went in plain clothes and masked, so maybe they were aware of the agreement, maybe they weren't. Either way, it was unprofessional not to honor the agreement with the court. There is also a court rule against photographing people in the courthouse. They were photographing people in the courthouse. They either didn't know or didn't care about that court rule.
Like things are starting to come back on Christy Gnome. I think a lot of us just felt like there would never be any blowback, but you have to remember that these court cases take time. And now all the stuff that in the moment Christy Gnome just brushed off and Republicans just brushed off, it's now coming back to bite him in the ass, and Christy Gnome's going to take the fall for it. You'll notice nobody came to her defense yesterday. You don't have a bunch of people out there playing Christy Gnome clips saying how great she was in front of Congress. Nobody. She is out there on an island by herself. They are going to let her take the heat for all of this. But that's kind of like what MAGA does. They're like, the buck stops with whatever woman we put out there, and blame her. But none of us. We'll never take the blame for any of this. It's not like she's running shit. She never has been. Holman's been doing it, Stephen Miller, Greg Bovino. She's just been like putting out commercials, and she's going to take the heat for all of this.
Either way, it was unprofessional. They were pursuing an intern and taking photos of this young intern who was not the person supposedly sought. The intern was in high school. The person sought was in his 30s. It shouldn't be too hard to tell the difference.
It's important to remember that most of the people working for ICE are fucking stupid, though. So there's some level of maybe they are just that dumb. Jamar said TikTok busted enough faster than Jim and American Pie.
They couldn't. It was unprofessional. A state judge escorted the intern out to his car to take him back to high school. The agents didn't recognize the judge. They operate against the agreement in a courtroom and don't bother to know who the judges are. Again, unprofessional. They followed the judge out to his parked car, which was parked in a spot reserved for judges. Whether or not they already knew he was a judge, it does not.
They're so dumb. They're just all so dumb. But what do you expect? Like in a department led by Christy Gnome. Amber said, don't remember where I saw it, but supposedly the only reason U.S. GDP is up is due to military contracts, not because other countries are buying our crap, but because we're buying our crap. That's part of it for sure.
Take much in terms of powers of deduction to understand that the person getting into a car in a parking spot reserved for judges is probably a judge. Again, unprofessional. Then they threatened to smash his windows and drag him from the car. A judge with a high school intern in the car.
It is my favorite thing, honestly. Like, it's kind of becoming cute with MAGA that they've run out of so much stuff to say. Like, they don't have any excuse for any of this stuff. So it's just a bunch of, like, they've just gone just full transphobic. Like, we're talking about Christy Gnome being thrown under the bus, and they're like, you don't even know what a woman is. Let's update that material, can we? Can we do that today? These don't work. There's a reason that you're making these jokes online. Because everybody in your life's tired of you fucking talking. They're tired of you making the same fucking joke over and over and over again. That's why you're trolling online. It is a miserable existence. But update your material, please. It's not even fun to argue with you guys anymore. I feel like I have to continuously come up with material and you guys aren't making the same effort. We got to do this collectively together. If we're going to talk shit to each other, if we're going to banter, you guys have to put a little more effort into this. I feel like I'm doing all the foreplay and I'm getting all the finishes too. And I need you guys to step up a little bit.
Who's not the guy they're looking for. That kind of escalation seems unprofessional and irresponsible. Then they held the kid for half an hour in another vehicle while they figured out that, in fact, the high school kid was not the 30-plus-year-old.
They're just kidnapping kids. That's what ICE is doing. Just kidnapping kids for the hell of it. If anybody takes my kid and puts them in a car, like, that's kidnapping. Well, they did look like immigrants. Gerrymander said, need new dining room rug. What's your pro opinion? Dining room is kind of a exposed place, my friend. You want to put that in a more private place.
Person that they were supposedly looking for. nobody was hurt, but there was nothing professional about that entire exchange. And I would ask you to send a signal down to your folks to stop that kind of dangerous and unprofessional nonsense, particularly in our courthouses.
All right. Some of you asked for a
Now-
little more energy than Sheldon Whitehouse, and fair enough. So we're going to give you more energy. We showed the last minute and a half of this, but I didn't see the whole thing. So we're going to revisit a clip from yesterday. Tom Tillis for 4 minutes and 44 seconds, absolutely shredding Christy Gnome. And for you in the chat that are new to this channel or maybe to politics, this is Tom Tillis. This is a Republican Tom Tillis, and he has no time for Christy Gnome. Oslo said Trump's going to have to get a lift kit to make more room under that bus. Clearance is getting a little tough now. All right, here's let me check here actually real quick. And then Tom Tillis.
Work for? You or the president?
The president.
Okay.
The question was, who does Tom Homan work for? You or the president?
Why is that? Because I believe the president recognized that you weren't getting it done in Minneapolis, and you're putting us further away from pointing to this. We're beginning to get the American people to think that deporting people is wrong. It's the exact opposite. The way you're going about deporting them is wrong. The fact that you can't admit to a mistake, which looks like under investigation, is going to prove that Miss Good and Mr. Petty probably should not have been shot in the face.
Anything Republicans on that? Didn't we say that? We said it at the time. You guys, you were ready. You tried to make legal defenses. Even the Republicans are admitting now that, like, yeah, these are going to be unjustified killings, both of them. What are you going to do? Are you just going to claim that the courts are corrupt, that somehow it's the courts hated Trump, so that's why they rule this? That's why they rule these unjustified murders? What's going to be the excuse? Because we know you're not going to change your mind, right? You've already decided you're doubling down on all this stuff. But even the Republicans here, multiple Republicans yesterday were like, hey, there's no excuse for those killings, which you all should have known in real time. And you should start discussing it amongst yourselves now. Why was it in real time that I defended that? Why is it that I still claim that these killings are justified? How is it that everybody else is coming to the conclusion that they weren't, but I'm not? And then perhaps think that maybe, just maybe, your only incentive is to defend Donald Trump or anything this administration does. Because what hurts you more than anything is criticism of Donald Trump and this administration. And why does that hurt you more than anything? Because you've tied your entire fucking identity to this. It is who you are now. What Donald Trump does, you feel is an extension of you. That's why you come in every day and you're like, we're winning. No, you're not. You're not part of this. You're not actually attached to him. You're just daydreaming about being attached to him. This is like the most bizarre, psycho, what would you call it? I guess like a collective psychosis of MAGA, where you've all created in your head this massive human centipede that is Donald Trump, and you've all formed together like ass to mouth, ass to mouth, ass to mouth, and you all think that you're accomplishing these things together. But really what's happening is he's just taking a boat paddle and whacking you in the ass repeatedly, and then you're turning around going, thank you, thank you, thank you. He's doing nothing for you. You're all getting fucked. But you have bought into this mass psychosis that somehow, some way, this is for you, this is for the country, this is good, this is working. And like your leadership, the people that you voted for before him, they're all like, yeah, not doing it anymore. They have removed, some of them have removed their mouth from other people's asses, and they are no longer connected. And they're backing away from this like, all right, we see the writings on the wall. We're fucked here. But not you guys. You just show up like, if one person removes their mouth from that ass, I'm just going to move in and I'm going to suck even harder. We're going to keep this suction going. It's pathetic. You're all going to be on the wrong side of history going down until the day that you die, that Renee Good and Alex Preddy deserved to die for nothing.
In the back. Law enforcement needs to learn from that. You don't protect them by not looking after the facts. Not only should the FBI be investigating it, but every single law enforcement agency in that jurisdiction should be invited to it. So our law enforcement officers do not have this pall cast upon them. One of the reasons why ICE officers are having threats and damn the people that threaten ICE officers because so many of them are doing a good job. It's because you've cast a pall on them by acting like we should invest.
That feels like what we were saying. Isn't that what we were saying? That maybe if you wanted to stop the people from being upset at ICE, then when ICE does something wrong, you should punish the people who do things wrong. Otherwise, collectively, you're all going to look like criminals. That's what we said at the beginning. Perhaps when somebody shoots Renee Good, perhaps when somebody executes Alex Peretti, you don't send them to work the next day. At least put them on some sort of administrative leave. That's what we said too, but now the Republicans have to say it. Because now you guys are backed into a corner. And so what are they going to do? They're going to scapegoat the woman. It's not like Stephen Miller didn't write her quotes. It's not like Trump didn't say the exact same thing. Tom Tillis here, cowardly, isn't going to attack Trump. They're all going to go after Christy Gnome. Didn't even go after Tom Homan. Just Christy Gnome.
Investigate things differently. Officer-involved shootings have a formula that we should go through every time. And we're not going through that formula. As a matter of fact, in Ms. Good's case, I think that they were even saying that maybe there wasn't even a need to do it in the DOJ. I hope that that's changed. But I'm telling you, it was a civil rights review. I saw your frown. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But originally, Blanche said there wouldn't be an investigation. Folks, law enforcement, we've got to have their back. We've got to make it clear when they make a mistake, then they get corrected for it. But you don't walk away from it, and you've done it too many times. Now,
what's with the Sharpies in this administration? Why is everybody writing with Sharpies? I would also like to know what she writes down. You'll notice every time she writes, she's writing like one word. I can't figure out what she's writing. It'll be like 4 letters. I don't know if she's just writing like fuck. I don't know. But why do they all use Sharpies?
Secretary, I read your book last week. And honestly, some of the parts of
Amy said in law enforcement, even if a shooting is justified, the officer is required to take time off or an administrative position for a time. Thank you.
It impressed me, but some of it distresses me. And I'll give you a good example of one that does. The passage where you talk about killing a dog that was 14 months old. I train dogs, all right? And you are a farmer. You should know better. You should know that if you're going out to a hunting lodge and you're putting pheasants out and you're putting dogs out, you don't take a puppy out there. A 14-month-old dog is basically a teenager in dog years. You decided to kill that dog because you had not invested the appropriate time in training, and then you have the audacity to go.
That was a 3-letter word. Now it's the second word.
Go into a book and say it's a leadership lesson about tough choices. It's in
like I think she's just scribbling. Well, got landscapers right at the window there. Sorry about that if you can hear that. I think she's just scribbling now at that point. She is so broken. Somebody said earlier she looks so hurt. Yeah. You were always going to be thrown under the bus. Always. Your incompetence is why you have this job. They just wanted you to go out there and take bullets for them.
Your book, we could play it if we had time. At that same lunch hour, you killed a goat. And you killed the goat because you said it was behaving badly. You are a farmer. You don't castrate a goat. They behave badly. You should have probably done that before. But my point is, those are bad decisions made in the heat of the moment. Not unlike what happened up in Minneapolis. I expect we're an exceptional nation. And one of the reasons we're exceptional is we expect exceptional leadership. And you've demonstrated anything but that in the time that I've seen you responding to the emergency in North.
Could we just point out that also anybody who she reports to has shown terrible leadership? If you have a leader that is doing that bad of a job and you require another body to come in and eviscerate her in order for you to feel justified to get rid of her, perhaps you're also not a good leader. Tom Tillis doesn't have the courage to say that, but if Trump should know this by now. He's just waiting until the pressure's on, and then he'll drop her.
North Carolina and across the Southeast, and acknowledging when mistakes are made, and speaking too soon for the expedient of social media or whatever it is. I'll leave you with this, Ms. Gnome. I'm expecting answers to Charlotte's Web. I requested it a month ago. That was one of the investigations in Charlotte, 20 minutes from where I live. All I asked for, if it had to be anonymized, was information so that I could determine if your hit rate is right. I want to find more of those people, and I want to detain fewer of the others. And Mr. Chair, in my remaining time, I have a lot to go. But I want to submit this letter from the Office of Inspector General that cites 10 different instances under Ms. Gnome's leadership where they've been misled and not allowed to pursue investigations that they think are critically important. Does anybody have any idea how bad it has to be for the OIG in this agency to come out and do this publicly? That is stonewalling. That's a failure.
The last thing an OIG wants to do is come out publicly about anything. The whole point of that job is that you're able to do this behind the scenes. That's the Office of Inspector General. And they're saying that like they're trying to conduct investigations and that she is putting a stop to them. And it got so bad that they had to come out and write a letter as whistleblowers to say, hey, we're not allowed to do our job. We're not allowed to investigate these people. If they break the laws, there's not a goddamn thing we can do about it.
Leadership, and that is why I've called for your resignation. And if I don't get an answer to these questions...
This is the best part. This I like out of Tom Tillis. Fair for him to be angry, but this is a real solution.
I don't want an applause. Please don't do that for me. If I don't get an answer to these questions, if I don't get an answer that you've had a month to respond to, and the remaining ones, as of today, I'll be informing leadership that I'm putting a hold on any en bloc nominations until I get a response. And in 2 weeks, if I don't get a response, I'm going to deny quorum and markup in as many committees as I can until I get a response.
He's going to single-handedly shut down as many parts of the government as he can. And he has to make that threat so Christy Gnome will do her job. God, this administration sucks. Here's the letter, actually. There's a shout out to Greg T. Sargent, who got some screenshots of these. I couldn't find the original without, it was behind a paywall where I saw it, so I don't know where to find the original. But here is from the OIG here. It said, I'm writing to notify you that over the last several months, the Department of Homeland Security has systematically obstructed the work of the DHS Office of Inspector General. Attachment A catalogs numerous OIG matters in which the department has blocked OIG from accessing records and information necessary for OIG's work. While all of the matters listed are important, the department's obstruction is particularly egregious in a specific pending criminal investigation. In early 2025, another federal law enforcement agency asked OIG to join an ongoing criminal investigation with national security implications that has a nexus to DHS. On April 3rd, 2025, OIG requested access to a database controlled by the DHS Office of Intelligence and Analysis, known as CI2MS, in connection with that criminal investigation. The department proposed conditions on OIG's access that OIG cannot accept because those conditions would require OIG to reveal the details of the investigation to individuals who do not have a need to know and who may be related somehow to the allegations or individuals under investigation. Guess what? They already know. DHS has already told them. But DHS doesn't want to allow this to go through unless they can be covered. So who could that possibly be? Who could it possibly be that DHS is afraid to investigate? The department's proposed approach would risk compromising the investigation and needlessly complicate it and any potential prosecution by creating additional witnesses with knowledge of investigative steps and evidence gathered. Let's see, here are 4 of the 8 that they are currently being blocked, or 10, excuse me, 4 of the 10, and then there's the rest of the 10. Republicans are like, we love it when the government doesn't tell us things. We love being left in the dark. It's our favorite thing. We're dumb and left in the dark to own the libs. Amy Lynn said, is he the one who shut down promotions for military members? I don't remember if that was him or not. I thought that might have been Toon, but it could be. That could be right. Let me check here. All right, moving on. Let's talk about Renee Good here, and trigger warning, you're going to see some blood here, so if that's something you don't want to see from Renee Good's card, don't. But they had, this is Reverend Tolgard here, and this is one of the Democrats' witnesses when they're talking about first the illegal action by DHS, and then the inaction by DHS, and then further like the reverberations that this has had through the community. I don't think we ever talk about that enough, but like these murders both happened openly in public in the community with bystanders mere feet away. And that has reverberations for everybody. People will remember that moment the rest of their life. People will get PTSD from that. People will not trust police from that. There's all sorts of implications here. And that's something that we don't talk about with ICE. It's just like shoot first. Don't ever ask questions. Just let them do what they want to do.
Now we're discussing the violence and brutality that's happened. And I want
to Tuberville that did that? Okay, thank you.
Show another image. It's kind of difficult, I think, to see, but I think it's important for the American public to continue to see it. Now, this is the driver's seat of Renee Good's car seat after an ICE agent shot her dead. Now, Reverend Tolgard, are families in your community afraid that this sort of horrific image could happen to them next?
Yes.
Are kids scared that this type of horrific image could happen to one of their parents?
Kids like my own, kids like the kids in my church are afraid that that could happen to their parents when they speak out.
And let's remember that an ICE agent specifically told a protester, have y'all not learned from the past couple of days? This is just 2 days after Renee Good was shot. That is being told to people on the ground in Minneapolis and across the country, across Minnesota, and it's not acceptable. We should be clear here. This violence does not make us safer. It does not address fraud, waste, and abuse. It doesn't help families with health care, does not grow or build small businesses, and it certainly, as we're continuing to discuss, is not preventing the kind of fraud that Republicans are discussing here today. Now,
all right. Moving on to did I scroll down too far? Scrolled down way too far. Here, I want to show some new. Actually, one more from Garcia here. Another trigger warning for this this image, not in the same way, but just the way that kids are being mistreated. It's a hard thing to talk to you Republicans every day sometimes. It's a hard thing. There is no empathy, there's no compassion, and there's no humanity. The only time you care about the loss of a human life is when you get to hold it over liberals' heads. The only time you care about protecting children is when you get to use it as a weapon for your own bigotry. But when children are being mistreated, who you view as your political enemy, there's no compassion, there's no empathy, there's no sympathy, there's nothing. It's callousness. And so, like, when I get these videos ready and I know I'm going to play them, I have to mentally prepare myself that the people in the trolls in the chat and the Republicans in the chat are going to wah about children being abused. And I just want to put that out there just in case any of you don't want to be pathetic fuckbags today and be human for just one day. We won't even tell your Republican friends that you were human today. We won't tell them that you cared about kids today. But just in case some of you want to act like decent human beings, this is going to be about the way that we're treating children.
Tolgard, I want the country to really understand the effects on kids. Are you seeing families who can't go to work, who can't go grocery shopping, and who can't take their kids to school or the library or the park because they're terrified to leave their home? Are you seeing that?
Yes, that's what we are seeing in Minnesota.
And this includes, of course, U.S. citizens, right? We're talking about also families, U.S. citizen families, and kids who are United States citizens. Is that correct?
Yes, people who are U.S. citizens and legal residents.
Well, thank you. I want to just show this image here. This is an image of some kids, including, by the way, one of Liam Ramos's classmates. These are kids that are being held at U.S. detention centers and detention facilities. Now, Reverend Tolgard, when children hear about thousands of kids being detained...
We tried, right? I told them to try and be human for a second. And as they hear this, the only thing they hear is criticism. And so it's, you didn't care about children before. Like, yeah, we did. First of all, we did. But like none of you have any ability to take accountability for what's happening here. These are children. If you're talking about anything right now other than these children, it's hard to find like commonplace with you. It's hard to respect you. If we can't agree that maybe we shouldn't have kids locked up in concentration camps right now, then I don't know where we connect. I don't know where we find common ground. If that's not a place we find common ground, where do we?
Reportedly, almost 4,000. That must be terrifying. Is that correct?
That is absolutely terrifying for children to hear these stories and to fear for that experience.
And would you say that kids are scared at their school?
Kids are scared at their schools.
Parents are scared of what's going to happen to their children. Would you say that is correct
Yes,
also?
that is correct.
Well, thank you. Guard, I want the country to really...
Crying channel. See what I said? We told them they do it. Didn't I tell you that they would do wah wah and call everybody crybabies? Yeah, those are kids. Get fucked, man. Silver lining, I guess. Like this, for the first time ever, this is a YouGov poll just out this yesterday, I think. Do you support for abolishing ICE? Would you support or oppose abolishing ICE? 50% of Americans say yes. 39% say no. Men, 46%. Women, 55% support. 34% oppose. Always the compassion and empathy. There's always a divide there. White people, 49% to 42%. Black people, 56 to 29%. Hispanic people, 49 to 39%. Younger people, obviously, overwhelmingly support abolishing ICE. And then it's pretty close, 49% from 30 to 44, 44%, 47. No degree, 46%. People who are educated, it's 60%. It's the first time in history. Harris voters support it by 77%. Trump voters, 19%. Liberals, 84% support. Moderates, 47%. Conservatives now up over 21%. Support abolishing ICE. But not MAGA. Not MAGA. They're a little lower. By party ID, it gets even higher. 23% of Republicans. First time ever. The polling indicates we should abolish ICE. Some people have hearts. Some of you are still working on them. Maybe melt it a little bit. Jen can teach you about that. You can call it wait, hold on. Dude is calling it a concentration camp when you can voluntarily leave anytime you want. No, you can't. No, you can't. You can't voluntarily leave anytime you want to? Or are you saying that you can just leave the country instead of fight for your rights? Is that what you're saying? It's not a concentration camp if you choose to get deported instead. Oh, okay. It's a concentration camp. You guys are deathly afraid of calling it a concentration camp. I don't know why. You would support concentration camps. You wouldn't care. I don't know why you pretend that you care about like the semantics here. You don't. You would support a concentration camp. Young people, women, institutionally educated, and leftists, aka all the stupid people. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Just the people like running the world, but you guys are probably the smart ones. I keep saying this guy's name wrong. I keep saying Kirikow, but it's like Kiriakou or whatever. I don't know. I keep seeing this Julian Dory everywhere. I don't know who he is. I do know that he stole Joe Rogan's backdrop for his podcast, and he has on former CIA officer John Kiriakou. Maybe that's how you say it. But we've got some issues with the Epstein files. And we've suspected this. We've talked about this before. It's curious the years of data that are missing in the Epstein files. Specifically years where Donald Trump would have been very, very close with Epstein. And there's almost no documentation from that timeline. Julian Dory here is going to show a graph that kind of solidifies that idea. It's obviously data, but putting it in a graph shows like there's an obvious cover-up, and they're covering up information about somebody during those years or some people during those years. Proud Atheist said humanity is one of those use it or lose it things. Yeah, they stopped using it. Thanks, Johnny, for joining the Dollar Train. Hannah said for the show, thanks for all the work that you do. Appreciate that, guys. Thanks for helping us knock out that gift goal early today. All right, here's the video.
There were some files missing. 2.
Yep.
Not just the 2.5 or 3 million.
No.
I mean, they're in there, but did you see the chart of the years that they're really missing from?
Mm-hmm.
Can we pull up that tweet, Thief? Just so people can see this. I have to rethink everything. I have to rethink things that in the past I would have said I feel okay about this take, and now I have to look at it and say, Julian, that was a ice cold, scalding ice cold, if you will, take.
If you're not rethinking everything at this point, start rethinking everything. I mean, even stuff that like historically we had been pretty dismissed as conspiracy theory, you kind of have to rethink it now because you see these links and you see how able they were to pull the wool over people's eyes and get like the wrong information out to the public. You kind of, if you're not thinking this way, perhaps you're just not thinking. Maybe you've just like shut it down.
And this is just one of these things. Like, it is what it is. When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. This is a data dump. I'm going to simplify this for you, John, because there's some more specific details here, but it is showing basically, like, if you will, a percentage of data.
It's obviously a problem there, right? Like you're going to have more data as the years go on because you have the internet. But this doesn't make any sense between the years of 1999 and 2001, right? That doesn't make any sense. What are we missing right here? That's a lead up to 9/11, by the way, if you want to get real conspiratorial. At the time when Trump and Epstein were really close. We know that Israel kind of dragged us in. You know, there's some speculation of the dancing Israelis. There's some speculation that the Saudis were behind 9/11. This is a pretty crucial time when we suspect that Epstein was as connected as he is. This is a pretty crucial time in American history to have almost nothing. Right?
Sets from the Epstein files that are presented over the years, and we can see that there is a massive gap, and basically like you in the chart, if you will, between the years of 1999 to 2001, when, among other things, you had the tech bubble blow up. You had, I believe that's 99 is when the Lewinsky impeachment trial's happening. You have the election of 2000, the highly contested election of 2000, John Kiriakou.
Oh, yeah.
Where I don't know,
Kiriakou, that's how you say it.
Someone Google this for me, but I think there was a big point of contention in Palm Beach County as it pertains to that election, and that's where one Jeffrey Epstein did happen to reside. Just looking at some things here.
Yeah. We also happen to be pretty good friends with another prominent politician of today during that time too.
And then in 2001, you have the worst terrorist attack in United States history in New York and D.C. and in the skies over that fell over Pennsylvania with United 93. And suddenly all these files are missing. But, John, we did get an email from 2003 that slipped through the cracks.
Really?
Oh, you haven't seen this one?
No, I haven't seen it.
So there's an email thief. Boom. He's got it. He's all over it. So this is from 2003. Someone named Ed Epstein sends an email to one Gmax, Ghislaine Maxwell, saying, any interest in being on the Shadow Commission on 9/11, the membership list is secret. She responds, thanks for the invite. Unfortunately, I cannot be on the Shadow Commission.
A Shadow Commission. It takes my breath away.
We covered that. Didn't even register. We read that on air, and I think at the time, we'd have to go back and watch it, but I was like, oh, man, I don't know what that means. That's bizarre to me. It didn't even register to me that like we would have this many documents missing from that time, or even what that would be. It's weird. Does anybody have an explanation at all for why those, like, have you guys heard anything? Can you come up with any reason why these files would be missing, or why we don't have files? If you think that there's just not files there. The host name is Julian Dory, and then this guy, this is former CIA, I think he was an intel analyst, John Kiriakou. Did I say that right? Legit, I want to know if any of you have an explanation for it, or something you've thought of why we would have that massive gap. That date of the email was 2003. Let's see. Go back. January 5th, 2003.
A Shadow Commission. It takes my breath away. Oh my God. This should be the banner headline.
What do you make of that?
I don't even know what to say. I mean, nobody believes what the 9/11 Commission concluded anyway.
That's right.
But the fact that there was a shadow commission with a secret membership list.
And then that membership included either Epstein's brother was on the membership or was on that list or part of that commission, or he was contacted to get a hold of Ghislaine. Why would Ghislaine be on that? Why would Ed be on that? At the time, you would say, like, why would Epstein be on that? Now we know. That reaction is so fake. Yeah, I didn't know either. I'm with you a little bit there, Brian. Like, it's one of two things. Either he's legitimately, like, blown away by this, or he's trying to sell it. I don't know. It does seem a little over the top.
And Ghislaine Maxwell talked about it in 2003.
Why? That's what I want to know.
Good question.
I don't know either. I'm showing it to you guys because I was hoping one of you would know. Nobody knows. I thought somebody would have an answer to that. He might have already known. That could be totally phony. All right. But to add to the conspiracy here, this was posted by The Atlantic, citing Thomas Massie. As the House moved forward toward a vote on releasing the Epstein files last summer and fall, the White House and top Trump allies launched an effort to forestall it that lawmakers told me was unprecedented in its intensity and scope. Massie called it a 360-degree pressure campaign, one felt not just by him and his staff, but anyone associated with him. One tactic he had not experienced before: some of his key staff members were suddenly offered more prestigious jobs in the Trump administration or more lucrative jobs in the private sector. The idea being that if Massie no longer had a full staff, he couldn't pursue ambitious legislation. Massie recalled asking an employee who, a few weeks before the vote, had received an employment offer that would double his salary. Did it ever occur to you they might be offering you this job to basically make me less effective? He said the young man sheepishly replied, "That's what my mom said." He turned down the offer and finished writing the bill. This has been corroborated with Lauren Boebert's campaign and with Marjorie Taylor Greene's campaign. And that as they were vocally talking about releasing the Epstein files, there was pressure put behind the scenes. And all of a sudden, all their staffers and all their friends were being offered jobs to get them away from Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie. It is a little, yeah, it is like it's the Epstein playbook. 100%. Buy them off. Who's behind that if it's not Trump? Who's behind trying to buy these people's silence if it's not Trump? How are they able to offer jobs in the Trump administration if it's not Trump? They're all corrupt and bought by AIPAC. Well, I don't know if this one's an AIPAC. This doesn't seem, I don't see the link there, but I agree a lot of people are bought by AIPAC. All right. Let's, Comer went on News Nation yesterday. Comer's going to make way too many appearances today, which sucks. But now that Bill Clinton has testified, it seems like ex-presidents are allowed to testify. And Trump is the sitting president. They're never going to call him in to testify. And because he is the sitting president, he's not going to be required to. There's nothing they can do to compel testimony from Trump while he's president. But a good question to ask is to Comer is like, once Trump isn't president, would you bring him in? Which should be a simple yes, right? Of course. But Comer can't even bring himself to say that.
And remember, he was next door neighbors to Jeffrey Epstein. That's not a crime, but perhaps he has some knowledge. So, yeah.
What about the knowledge that President Trump knows? I mean, Republicans have made it, loud and clear they're not going to ask Trump to sit for a deposition while he's the sitting president. But former presidents are now clearly on the table. So when he leaves office, will you ask the same of him?
Well, look, I don't think it's...
This part, baby. Watch him when she asks the question. His mouth gets dry. Oh, boy.
Well, look, I don't think it's any secret when President Trump left office the first time, he ended up in many, many courts. The Democrats are going to go after President Trump whether or not this Epstein investigation ever happened. They're going to go after President Trump on a whole menu.
Yeah, for all his crimes. Yeah, it's what people do when people commit crimes. You prosecute them.
Of things.
Sure,
That's what
but will you
Democrats
ask him
do.
to
They don't
do the
really
same?
have. Yeah, we're working with the president. He's turning over documents. We're trying to get more.
What documents is the president turning over? Anybody aware of any documents that Trump has turned over? What crimes? He was convicted. He's a convicted felon. What do you mean, what crimes? He got convicted. He went to court 3 times and he lost all 3 times. I'm so tired of you guys. I don't know what the fuck to do with you dipshits. Honest to God. You just reality is just whatever the fuck you want it to be. What crimes? You know what crimes. You're just waiting for me to say it so that you can be like, those weren't real crimes. That was a corrupt prosecution. Have a backbone. Have a spine. Good Lord. He lost every time he went to court. He was 3 for 3. The only cases that went away are ones that never made it to court because he won the presidency again, and you can't prosecute a sitting president. They were still open. You know that, and you all know that. You're just you're pathetically loyal to this man that you will ignore reality and pretend it just didn't happen.
Names unredacted. We have
0 of them were overturned. Ganji, I need you to understand this. None of his felony conviction was not overturned, and the 2 civil convictions were also not overturned. I need you to respond in the chat that you understand that he is still a convicted felon, that the convictions were not overturned, and both civil cases were not overturned. Google it, loser. Got it. Watch. Is Google going to be too woke for you? Were any of Trump's felony or civil convictions overturned? As of early 2026, none of Donald Trump's felony convictions have been overturned, although they are under appeal, and a significant $500 million plus civil fraud penalty was overturned, the penalty, not the conviction, by a New York appeals court in August 2025. While the fraud finding itself was upheld, the massive financial penalty was dismissed. In the civil fraud case, an appeals court threw out the $500 million penalty, though the finding of liability for fraud remained in place. In the hush money, a federal appeals court revived efforts to move this case to federal court, potentially leading it to being overturned on immunity grounds, though it currently stands. I'll take that apology. Where's dipshit? I'll be nice. Ganji, apologize. So you have to say, you don't even have to apologize. Just say, I was wrong. Don't say triggered when we fact check. I did what you asked me to do. Don't say triggered. Say, I apologize. Patrick, shut the fuck up. Don't always side with the dumbest people here. Ganji, I need you to apologize here. He's gonna run away. He's just like the rest of them. He's gonna run away. Where'd you go, bud? Somebody want to check on Ganji? Where'd Ganji go there? 34 counts, and we still put him in office because the alternative worse? No, it's because you're stupid. And a lot of people were really fucking stupid, and you believed a lot of obvious lies. Ganji, I apologize to absolutely fucking nobody. Don't steal Conor McGregor's bars and enjoy your 24-hour mute. You can no longer message. Mods, go ahead and take care of that. We demand accountability here. You can't get me to stop the show, fact check something for you, and then proceed to be a bitch. Bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. Lick on these nuts and suck the dick. Enjoy your 24-hour mute from this live. You can go troll someplace else. Back to James Comey.
Some disagreement over some of the names that are redacted because we believe that, in this investigation, there are some women who are both victims and victimizers. Those names are redacted. We feel like those names could offer some helpful information to us. in this investigation as to figure out how Epstein was able to pull it off. So thus far, I'm very appreciative of the cooperation with the Trump administration and President Trump.
That's a crazy thing to say. They are still not turning over documents. They are still hiding documents. And this pathetic little cuck goes on TV and he's like, I'm so appreciative for how easy they've been to work with. They had to release them last year. It's fucking February. We still don't have the documents. They're deleting documents as we speak. How cucked do you have to be at this point? Thank you so much. I know you were supposed to give us everything, but we'll just say thank you for the little bit that you've given us. It's March. Yeah, it is March. Holy fuck, it's March. It's not even February anymore. Good point.
Trump's answered hundreds, if not thousands, of questions about Epstein. Prior to our deposition,
none of them under oath.
I don't think the Clintons had answered very many questions about Epstein.
And let me ask.
If you're still asking the question, why didn't Dems release them? We can't take you seriously. You should know that answer by now. And if you don't know that answer, go look it up. I'm tired of explaining it to you guys every single day. This I like, though. Pablo Torre reports this isn't Pablo Torre, I don't believe. It may be, but there's no face here. Caught up with Ohio Senator Bernie Moreno, who is up for re-election and is down currently in the polls in Ohio. And turns out old Moreno here got a $3,500 donation from Les Wexner. Now, if any of us got a donation from Les Wexner, and somebody said, you got a donation from Les Wexner, we would all give it back. But not if you're a Republican, because you don't have to have any morals as long as it's a man giving you the money. Like, it's okay. It's fine that it's Les Wexner. You can keep the money. Listen to Moreno explain why he's not going to give this money back.
So, quick question. It came up that you got money from Les Wexner. I think it was a $3,500 donation. Any comment on receiving money? Or are you going to give it back? Like,
why would I do that?
Just because he's a alleged co-conspirator in the Epstein files.
Gotcha. How about Reid Hoffman?
What about the one you got money from though? Right?
Did you ask every Democrat if they're going to give back Reid Hoffman's contributions?
No, I haven't, but that's a good question. I would ask them.
Who gave hundreds of thousands of dollars to Democrats? And how about the Goldman Sachs lawyer?
But if I asked,
also there. But my point is, first of all, Les Wexner cut off ties with Epstein over almost 2 decades ago.
Oh, he's got a lot of knowledge about Les Wexner. Let me check this dude's hard drive. He knows all that.
He has not been charged with any crimes whatsoever.
Would you guys take money from Les Wexner? I wouldn't take money from Les Wexner.
He sat through a testimony for hours in which he answered all their questions, and there wasn't a single shred of evidence that came out that he did anything other than, you know what he's guilty of? Here's what he's guilty of. Yeah. Hiring a terrible human being. And if hiring a terrible human being is a crime, then Joe Biden would be away for life, because the cabinet he had was the most inept cabinet in American history. So,
and nobody said he's dodging. We're saying that he's not going to give the money back because he's a corrupt little bitch. Mute Patrick for however long you want. I'm tired of Patrick today.
So this idea that Republicans are held to a different standard because there's an allegation about somebody, so you have to give that contribution back. But here's what I am willing to do. Make a deal. Right? Make a deal. That's what we're going to do. I will give back every single campaign contribution I took in during my campaign.
Thanks,
if every TV and newspaper media company give back all the money I spent on their commercials, because technically that $3,500 didn't go to me. That $3,500 flowed through my campaign directly to a TV station in Ohio. So if you get next...
You should have just said no, dude. It's an easy answer. It's a layup, and you missed it. Amy said, and which administration is extremely close to and very financially tied to Saudi Arabia? Sorry I was late on that, but that's a good point. Fuck Bernie Moreno. He's probably going to lose. All right, a couple things before we get to Iran. Scott Bessant is not equipped for trying to calm people down. Here's Scott Bessant this morning on CNBC being asked about the obvious concerns that we should have in the Middle East with there's no real end in sight right now with the war in Iran, and with it now escalating to multiple other countries. there are significant challenges that are going to face the world economy. There are water shortages. There are food shortages. There's obviously war. There's access to oil that could be problematic. And if you're going to try and calm people down, I would highly recommend not hiring Scott Bessant to go out and try and calm people down. He's rich, he's fine, and he doesn't have any real emotions. So he's not equipped for this. But here he is trying to tell you, like, while the region is legitimately on fire, like not hypothetically on fire, it's legitimately on fire. Scott Bessant's going to go on TV and say, it's not like it's on fire or anything.
If I could ask you to keep your fund manager hat on for just a moment. We were talking earlier this morning about some of the moves we've seen. The shekel was actually up against the dollar. The Israeli market stabilized. What does that tell you?
Again, it tells me that markets live in the future and that someone is willing to look on the other side of this.
But then they would tell you that people think the shekel is a better investment, or it's more valuable than the dollar, or it's increasing its value faster than the dollar. Why would that be? Well, the dollar's tied to the Middle East through the petrodollar, right? Part of the reason our dollar is so valuable is because these countries have agreed to use our dollar as a way to pay for petrol. But if that changes, the value of our dollar collapses. It no longer becomes the reserve currency. Does that change a lot for Israel? Not quite as much. So there is some instability here in our own finances, and that's what it actually shows you. But Scott Bessant isn't going to admit that.
And not to these fantastical media accounts. Becky, I will tell you, the region is not on fire. What is happening?
It's like actually on fire. It's such a crazy thing to say. They're bombing each other nonstop. If you did an overhead view of the region, you would see fire. There's so much fire.
Is that someone with an iPhone, and look, it's terrible when a hotel gets hit. In Bahrain, when there is a drone that hits the airport in Doha, but those are one-offs. The attack.
They're not. None of those are one-offs. All of those things have happened repeatedly. Those aren't. It's not a one-off if it happens again. Will said Bessant should stick to soybean farming. Why doesn't he have a straw hat on? How come he never has overalls on? It's devastating.
Capabilities have been substantially degraded. The U.S. is getting stronger and stronger every day. And the most fulsome part of our campaign is...
Where? Where are we getting stronger and stronger every day? I don't know what reality they think everybody's living in. They can just say that. Everybody's like, yeah, we are getting stronger. That's true.
It's just starting. So that there are the people in the market willing to look through this. And that's what I think everyone should do, because President Trump has a vision here. And I think...
What is it? Stop this, Meg. What's Trump's vision for Iran? Looks like he's being controlled by a ventriloquist. Has he told us? As far as I'm aware, he hasn't told us. What's his vision? Iranians are poisoning Trump. All right, cool. Like, you're just propagandizing. Nobody can take you seriously. They have massive protests in the street right now. They're very upset about the killing of Khamenei, and you're just like all it takes is somebody showing you a video of people supporting Trump, and you're like, that's everybody. Anybody know what his vision is? I don't know what Trump's vision is. He won't tell us what his vision is. Maybe it's a secretive vision. Yeah, he'll tell us in 2 weeks. It'll be there with his healthcare plan.
Everyone should just step back and think about what does the world look like? If we go back and think the conflict in Syria, there's new leadership there, and that is safer today. Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro has been removed. This Iranian regime, that they're ballistic missiles and they will not have nuclear weapons. And most importantly...
What is that sentence? What are you even saying, bud? What is he saying here?
This Iranian regime, that they're ballistic missiles and they will not have nuclear weapons.
The Iranian regime is he saying they are ballistic missiles? The Iranian regime, their ballistic missiles won't exist?
The Iranian regime was the head of the snake for global terror, and we are going to cut off that head, and Iran will no longer be able to project terrorism around the world.
You think he nailed that? Nobody believes that. Nobody thinks that. Nobody thinks that killing Khomeini is going to stop terrorism. If you think that, like, you got to go check out history. This is only going to make it worse. There's going to be a like, as far as Ayatollahs go, Khomeini was like kind of amenable. We were able to negotiate with Khomeini. They didn't get a nuclear weapon. Netanyahu's been telling us they were going to get nukes since like the 80s. They never got one. That's a pretty good track record, 40 plus years. At least there were some negotiations. Not a good guy, didn't treat his people very well, but there were some negotiations there. Who do you think is going to take his place? You think it's going to be somebody that's like, I'm going to be even more nuanced? No. It's going to be a radical. People don't like their country being bombed. They get pissed off. Remember when most of us don't live in New York, but remember how pissed off you were when they took down the Twin Towers? Everybody's like, fuck them up. We just all went. There were concerts every day. Toby Keith like made billions of dollars. We'll put a boot in their ass. We all freaked the fuck out. We were all so mad. We were radicalized. People like Pat Tillman quit their NFL career to go join the military and go fight. There were people lining up to sign up to go fight. Remember that? Remember how radicalized we were by that? You don't think that's going to happen over there? What if they would have hit the White House? What if they would have killed the president? You don't think that would have added another level of radicalization from Americans? There's still Americans to this day that hate Muslims because of that. They've just tied that to all Muslims. One of them is the Speaker of the House. You're out of your fucking mind. If like you have two options. You kill everybody, which you can't do. Or you do regime change and wait for the next regime, which is going to be more radical, to rise up, and then you've got to fight them again. Those are our only two options here. And they're not going to pick either of those two options. We're going to fight until the American public puts enough pressure on them to not fight anymore, and then a new regime will rise up, and new cells will rise up, and new radical people will rise up. Like, you have to understand jihad. The leader of Iran could have fled. They knew the attacks were coming, could have fled. Didn't. Stayed there. Died with his family. That's now a martyr. That gives people a cause, an additional cause. That is a radicalizing force. I don't know why we're pretending that we don't know this. I don't know why this administration with Donald Trump, who campaigned against this, who have all been like J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, they've all talked about this, Tulsi Gabbard, Pete Hegseth, and like they've all talked about it. We're not going to do this shit, and then just immediately start doing it, and then just lie. Oh, no, this time it's different. To stop being a terrorist, you have to stop being a terrorist. That's a good point, Joe Dirt. Good point. Amy said they were showing a video of Venezuelans celebrating FIFA wins and told that was them celebrating what we did. So what do we expect? Yeah. All it takes to convince MAGA is that it's just a video. Oh, they're all celebrating for Trump. How do you know? How do you know when that video was taken? You see the riots in the streets now? All right. And then this makes me nervous. Now we're taking on additional financial risk and putting our soldiers in harm's way again. Lloyd's of London, who they insure a lot of the boats coming in and out of the Straits of Hormuz, and they have nullified that insurance because they do that when a war breaks out. And so naturally, I guess we're just taking that on.
The announcement that DFC will provide the insurance for both the crude carriers and the cargo ships operating in and around the Gulf over the weekend. Lloyd's of London nullified the insurance, so U.S. government is going to step in, and when it is appropriate and should it be needed, the U.S. Navy will provide safe passage through the straits for the oil tankers.
He sucks at speaking, by the way, but great. Not only are we doing regime change, but now we're armed security for everybody else. We're going to put more troops in harm's way to be armed security. And why are those troops in harm's way? Because we attacked Iran and we kicked off a war. That's why. This is what people say when they say, like, these wars aren't really about you and I. It's not about protecting our freedom. Somebody said earlier, like, freedom's not free. This doesn't help you be more free. None of this is helpful to you at all. We won't win in Iran either. Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think it's a winnable war. I think that we're going to do this until they can't stomach it anymore. Don't always love giving Dave Smith credit, but we find myself agreeing with Dave Smith a lot. Dave Smith was on with on Piers Morgan, and I don't know. Tell me what you disagree with here. Tell me what you disagree with the libertarian here.
I've heard the talking point a million times that Iran is the #1 sponsor of terrorism. It is something that the war hawks love to say. I have actually never once heard a coherent definition of terrorism and then a demonstration that they're the worst of it. The IDF is the worst terrorist organization in the region. Let's get real. The United States.
Anybody want to argue that the IDF's not the worst terrorists in the region? Haven't they bombed like 9 or 10 countries this year? Or in the past year? How many is Iran bombed before this kicked off? Dave Smith is a fascist? No, I don't think so. I think he's a libertarian.
America is arguably the worst terrorist organization in the world. If you want to look over the last 25 years, how many innocent civilians we've slaughtered. You're getting us into the neocon. Yeah, that's right.
Wait for the argument too. This is like the Republican argument now. Oh, really? Wow, dude. You must hate America. That's all Republicans have left. That's what the chat has left. If you hate it so much, why don't you leave? There's no real answer for any of this. Dave Smith's asking for an answer. Like, do you want to tell me what terrorism is? Do you want to explain to me how Iran is a bigger sponsor of terrorism than the IDF? Go ahead and explain it, but they never do. It's always, wow, you hate America, or wow, you're anti-Semitic. No, Israel's the bad guy, and we're with them. We're the bad guy.
You're getting us into the neocon 7th war, which they've been dying for the last 25 years.
You might want to take down, by the way.
No.
Can you name a war in history that wasn't conservative against conservative? Maybe one that was progressive against progressive? I don't think so. Not off the top of my head. Tim, thank you for joining the Dollar Train. Great point.
Actually, if you love this country, if you're a real patriot, you'd have to hate this government.
He thinks, by the way, let's go back, because he just thinks he fucking murdered with this line.
25 years.
You might want to take down, by the way.
No, actually, if you love this country, if you're a real patriot.
Killed it, bro. Start your stand-up career. You fucking killed it. Not one other person here is smiling at him. He's like, I got him with that one. Take the flag down.
You'd have to hate this government.
You said America
and the
killed
war
like the worst terrorists in the world, more than Iran,
them.
dude.
Yeah. DC killed a lot more people than Iran did. And that's George W. Bush and Barack Obama and Joe Biden and Donald Trump. It has nothing to do with okay. Dude, just all you can do is just interrupt because you know you have no point on your side. Anyway, Pierce, what actually
are there
matters
not mass
here,
graves in Iran?
Anyway, just immediately interrupts again.
Anyway, what actually matters here is that the calculation has been drastically changed and the incentives have been changed by Donald Trump, even since the 12-day war. Look, for the 12-day war to work out the way it did, really relied on a major piece of that puzzle, which was that Iran, for self-preservation reasons, showed restraint in their response. They called ahead. They let us know where they were going to target. They made sure they didn't kill any Americans.
I just like to point out, if you're reading the chat, which is kind of a nightmare, but you'll notice that what every Republican in here is doing is not addressing a single point. They're just trying to obfuscate to other things. Iran is happy. What, you think this is new? Oh, who's better? They're not going to address a single one of these points. They can't. It's impossible for them to address these points. One, because they don't know. And two, if they did know, they would know that they can't address these points because everything Dave Smith is saying here is verifiably true.
This time, once Donald Trump killed the Ayatollah, they offered through their Italian negotiators, they offered a ceasefire. Iran said no. Iran has now made the calculation that they simply can't let America come in and kill the Ayatollah and not respond, because then they'll just keep picking on them. Donald Trump already announced this was a...
And by the way, if Iran was celebrating, which they're not, stop being so fucking goddamn dumb. Look it the fuck up. Some people are celebrating, some are not. Even if they were, I wouldn't support this. We are not Iran. I don't want to murder people so that some people in Iran are happy. I don't want to get into a war so that some people in Iran can be happy. And you don't give a flying fuck about Iranians either, because if you did, when Donald Trump was taking those who had come to this country seeking refuge from the very Ayatollah that they just took out, Donald Trump wouldn't have sent them back to Iran. He would have let them stay here. He would have given them status, but he didn't. None of you give a fuck about a single solitary Iranian. So this idea like, oh, people are celebrating. It's not your real opinion. Your real opinion is, I want to suck Donald Trump's dick dry all day, every fucking day. And if it was long enough that it could hit the back of my throat, I would let it happen. But I can do nothing but suck Donald Trump's dick. And every once in a while, I take it out of my mouth and I say some dumb shit like I give a fuck about Iranians. You don't. You never have. You bombed a fucking kid's school. We're murdering innocent civilians in Iran right fucking now. You do not give a fuck about Iran. And even if what you were saying was true, which it's not, you don't give a fuck. I oppose regime change war. There is no scenario by which I am going to say that the United States needs to insert itself, decapitate leadership, and start a regime change war. Not because there's not evil people, not because I don't want evil people to be removed from office, but if we do it, it fucks everything up. If we do it, it creates collateral damage, and that collateral damage expands. It never gets smaller. It's just, we'll create a terrorist group and another terrorist group and another terrorist group and another terrorist group. It's just simply bad policy. So trying to tug at people's heartstrings and be like, don't you care about the Iranians? It's not about that. It's legitimately about, if you've watched history at all, if you've looked at American foreign policy for the last 50 years at all, you know this is a bad idea. So if you're celebrating it like it's a good idea, you are just dumb as fuck. And the only explanation we're left with is you don't understand any of this shit, or you just want to suck Donald Trump's dick so bad you're hoping that maybe he'll see this comment section where you're blindly defending regime change war. But I'll give you an olive branch. Tell me when it worked. Tell me when regime change in the Middle East has worked. When has it not led to more violence? Give me some names. Pick a country. Pick a leader. Did it work in Iraq? No. Did it work in Afghanistan? We didn't even accomplish it. Where has it worked? He's saying Syria. How's it going in Syria right now? Not that great. What do you have a rise in Syria right now? Extremist groups. What's going to happen in the near future in Syria? Extremist groups are going to rise up. What do all these other countries have to do right now? They're all hiring Eric Prince. Eric Prince has a business because we've destabilized the entire Middle East. So Eric Prince has built a private mercenary army that they all have to hire to protect themselves from these mercenary groups, because the United States sticks their fucking nose in everybody's business and decides who and when we kill, and we can do it indiscriminately. It's stupid fucking policy. It was stupid when Bush did it. It was stupid when Obama continued it. It was stupid when Biden continued it. It was stupid when Trump continued it. It's always been fucking stupid. You all were very quick to criticize Obama for his drone strikes and Biden for his acts of war. It left out the part where Trump did more drone strikes than anybody. You're willing to criticize them, but then when it comes to Trump, you're like, I actually don't have any real opinions. I don't really care about any policy. I don't have anything about me at all that is real, except for I want to suck Donald Trump's dick publicly. Please let me do it. It's just bad fucking policy. And it's embarrassing to watch some of you with the same tired arguments. You know what they said when we invaded Iraq? You know what they said? You know what Fox News said every day? Look at these happy Iraqis. They're so happy we're liberating them. Cool. I bet they were happy. I bet that those people thought, oh, fuck, America's here. It's going to be like America now. And 30 years later, I bet they don't think the same thing. Of course they're happy. Of course they feel like they're about to be liberated. They don't know. They don't know what we all know. So using them as like chum in the water or lube to get yourself hard so that you can jack off to a picture of Donald Trump is pathetic. I feel bad for those people. They're going to be let down. They think we give a fuck about them. We don't. We're not going to be there to help them years down the road. We're there right now for our own selfish desires. We're there right now. This appears to be a religious war. Apparently, we're doing this for Armageddon. We're doing this to fulfill revelations. If the whistleblowers are telling the truth coming out of the military, apparently this is now a religious war. Give me another explanation as to why the fuck we're there. But Dave Smith is dead right here. And anybody arguing that by saying, like, what about the Iranians? We're not buying that.
Regime change war with no plan. Absolutely no plan. As he has admitted, as Rubio has admitted, they have no plan for what comes next. And this is the scenario, I got to say, man, I hate to be vindicated like this, Piers, but this is the scenario that all of us were warning about since well before the 12.
It's why Dave Smith voted for Trump. Because Dave Smith believed Trump when Trump said, no new wars, no regime change wars. We're not the world's police. That's why he supported Trump. Previously hadn't. But when it came down to Harris and Trump, he was like, well, Trump's going to get the edge because Trump is promising no new wars, and I don't know if Harris is going to hold to that. So kudos to him for at least holding his standards, unlike the rest of you who came into these live streams every fucking day and said that, oh, no new wars. What about Biden's war? Donald Trump's going to end all the wars on day one. You all said that. Y'all beat us over the head with that forever, and then just abandoned it the first chance you had. Never mind. We love regime change war. Thank you. I think I got that from Becky there. Appreciate that. Sarah, thank you. Jolie, thank you very much. Appreciate you guys. Just a reminder, we are crowdfunded. I'll update the gift goal here in a minute. But if you can help us knock that out by the end of the live, we got about what is it? This can take us 12:30. An hour and 40 minutes left. We're right on pace.
Day war. That now you've gotten yourself into a situation. Americans are dead. I think Mr. Miller misspoke when he said 4 people are dead. 4 Americans are dead over there. Probably more to come. Donald Trump says more to come. We've had a couple Americans killed in Austin in a blowback terrorist attack.
Let's take those 4 people. What did we accomplish that was worth losing those 4 soldiers? And this one I'm gonna need an answer from Republicans. What action have we taken that was worth sacrificing at least those 4 American soldiers? Because you guys support the troops, right? Tell me what was worth it. What did we accomplish that makes this worth it? We cut off Chinese oil? That's worth it? Is that what you're saying? It's worth it to cut off Chinese oil? So we'll sacrifice some American lives to cut off Chinese oil? Are you saying this is an oil war? Got rid of an American-hating POS? Oh, okay. So it was worth it? It was worth sacrificing those soldiers for somebody who just didn't like America? Cool. Dollar dominance. Oh, okay. I do understand the dollar. I explained the petrodollar earlier. So this is about. Is that what this war is about? Oil and the petrodollar? Are you guys just being honest about that? I appreciate you being honest about that. Six soldiers now. Thank you. Man, isn't it weird how when you have to answer questions, you don't have anything? Go tell those parents that it's fine. Like, it's fine that their kids are dead because China's getting a little less oil now. Soldiers, of course, are aware of the possibility of death when they enlist. But I think that the people who lead them should take care not to just sacrifice them for nothing. No? All right.
That's happened already since then. And like, dude, the lack of wisdom here from the Trump administration, like, you have no idea what you just kicked off. There is absolutely no reason to think that this thing is not going to be a catastrophe, just like the last 6 theaters in the global war on terrorism. And by the way, you know, for just final one very quick last point. I'm sorry, Pierce, but then really, you know, interrupting me there a bunch. Let me just say one thing. For all the like supposed like pretend intellectuals out there, like the Gad Sads and the Sam Harris, who have spent a career talking about how violent and irrational the Muslim world is because you can't even draw a cartoon of Muhammad or they'll start killing people. Hey, what do you think happens when you murder an Ayatollah? Did anyone know that that's not just a political figure to the Shiites, who we've had no beef with really
your
so
foreign
far?
policy
We've never
is
had a
don't kill
Shiite
bad guys because they fight back. That's like the most.
God, that guy's fucking dumb. I don't know who that guy is. He is so fucking stupid. That's not even close to what he said. And this is what MAGA does. They can't answer the fucking question, so they change what you're saying. So what you're saying is, no, that's not what he's saying. He's saying, when has it worked? Well, he's bad. Yeah, no shit. Sometimes people are bad. And so you take the appropriate action. We wouldn't be doing any of this shit if Trump wouldn't have ripped up that agreement. You've already lost this argument. You never mind. Regime change is going to have real principles. What's up, Jen?
Or froze.
Going to have real principles. What's up, Jen?
Or froze.
Where? Just on YouTube?
Or both.
I don't have anything on my end. Oh, Twitch says it's back.
Okay, looks like it's. Okay, it looks like.
Back?
All right, back, everybody.
Gotcha. I don't know. My internet looks fine. I know what that is. That might be a Streamlabs thing. Usually I get a notification there. All right. Let Dave Smith, and I guess that was the end of it. Damn it. They always cut me off when I'm pointing out that Republicans have no principles. Don said, just to annoy Robert in the chat, Amy Lynn said, this administration is willing to sacrifice our soldiers to make Iran happy. I mean, we're not in any danger from Iran. Another good point. I don't know what danger Iran poses to us. Gregory, thanks for the super chat. C. Green said Republicans aren't going to let a little thing like facts get in the way. No, they never do. They don't want to do that. Dolphin said, every time someone tries to win a war before it starts, innocent people die. Captain America, Age of Ultron. I have not seen that, but I agree with that quote. I like that a lot. It gets more pathetic. Like there is no real answer to this. Like even with 9/11, we kind of knew. Like it turned out to be bullshit, but they gave us something. They gave us reasons why we should invade Iraq and Afghanistan. But like this administration can't even come up with anything coherent. They all have different answers as to what we're doing. We have a bunch of Americans now stuck in the Middle East. And Marco Rubio yesterday said that if you're stuck in the Middle East, you need to call the State Department. We'll get you out of there. This is what happens when you call the State Department.
Right. So Secretary of State Marco Rubio urged news organizations to put the 24/7 State Department emergency line out so that Americans who are stuck in the Middle East can get help getting out of the region, register their names and not. But listen to what happens when you dial the number.
Please do not rely on the U.S. government for assisted departure or evacuation at this time. There are currently no United States evacuation points. Please continue to check the embassy's website for updated information.
So,
in the event of ongoing...
the bottom line is, if you're looking for help, you're stuck in the Middle East and you can't evacuate, there's no help yet from the United States government.
Cool.
You can call that number, you can go through the website, you can register your name so you might get updates later. But the number that the Secretary of State gave out, what it does for you is it tells you right now that there is no help from the United States government in getting out of the Middle East. Right. So Secretary of State Marco
Roxanne, you don't need to laugh at all of your own comments. You'll notice nobody's laughing at your comments. It's because none of them are funny. You don't need to add the emojis on there. I see you crashing out in there. Here's some attention for you. Got that attention? NBC journalist. He was playing the audio. He called a phone number. If you can't take that at face value when you can hear it, then I don't know what to tell you. I think that you're not as competent and you're not capable of determining what's real and what's not. Give you the number? Okay. The
U.S. is committed to helping U.S. citizens who want to leave the region to do so. If you are calling for assistance with travel, please stay on the line.
If you are calling regarding a U.S. citizen...
Oh, we're buffering again? What the fuck is going on? I'm fine on the internet. Double check it. Yeah, my speeds are cruising. I gave you the number, Roxanne. Jesus Christ. I already said it.
You glitched out.
Oh, okay.
Twitch froze on my end just again.
I just switched. I turned on the VPN just to see if it... you're getting it attacked there. All right, YouTube's back. Twitch, it says that people are saying Twitch is down. Or broadcast ended on Twitch. All right, I guess we're just going to stay up on YouTube. I don't want to start over and deal with that shit again. All right, we'll make the call again. Here we go.
Thank you for calling. Welcome to the Department of State's Bureau of Consular Affairs, Office of Overseas Citizen Services, serving U.S. citizens abroad. If you are calling about the crisis in the Middle East, please press 1. If not, press 2.
The U.S. is committed to helping U.S. citizens who want to leave the region to do so. If you are calling for assistance with travel, please stay on the line.
If you are calling regarding a U.S. citizen in Israel, press 1. If you are calling regarding a U.S. citizen in Iran, press 2. If you are calling regarding a U.S. citizen in other countries in the Middle East, press 3. You have reached Middle East Task Force. Please hold for the next available representative.
All right, so it looks like they're trying to at least get to representatives now. I probably should have stayed on to see how long it took, but there you go. There you go. How's it going in Texas? I don't know. I'm not in Texas. Good question. All right. Here is Marco Rubio got caught lying yesterday. We covered this original clip, but then he got caught lying and kind of fucked up here because Marco Rubio tries to play the you weren't there yesterday. Unfortunately, the person asking him this question is the same person who asked him the question yesterday and he forgot. And so he winds up just looking kind of dumb here.
Yesterday you said...
The number was always working. This is what I'm saying about MAGA. The number was always working. It's just that they didn't have any options. Did you not watch the clip? The same thing happened when I called. How this many of you can be this goddamn dumb. It blows my mind.
Yesterday you said... Yesterday you talked about Israel. Mr. Secretary.
Please, guys, I can't hear them all. Yes.
Yesterday, you told us that Israel was going to strike Iran, and that's why we needed to get involved. Today, the president said that Iran was going to get...
Yeah, your statement is false. So that's not what I was asked very specifically. Were you there yesterday?
Yes, I asked
a
question.
No, were you the one that... Because somebody asked me a question yesterday. Did we go in because of Israel? And I said, you were asking me that follow-up. And I said, no. I told you this had to happen anyway. The president made a decision, and the decision he made was that Iran was not going to be allowed to hide behind its ballistic missile program. That Iran was not going to...
Kingdom Girl, you can come up here and talk to me. Message GenDub1 on Discord. Can bring you up. Mods can help you.
...be allowed to hide behind its ability to conduct these attacks. That decision had been made. The president systematically made a decision to systematically destroy this terroristic capability that they had, and we carried that out.
Okay, now this is why it gets confusing, because she said that Israel, like he basically said Israel was going to strike Iran, and that's why we needed to be, that's why we got involved. Rubio says I didn't say that, but here's what he said yesterday, and you tell me, is that what he said or not?
The second question that's been asked is, why now? Well, there's two reasons why now. The first is it was abundantly clear that if Iran came under attack by anyone, the United States or Israel or anyone, they were going to respond and respond against the United States. The orders had been delegated down to the field commanders. It was automatic, and in fact, it bared to be true because, in fact, within an hour of the initial attack on the leadership compound, the missile forces in the south and in the north, for that matter, had already been activated to launch. In fact, those had already been pre-positioned. The third is the assessment that was made that if we stood and waited for that attack to come first before we hit them, we would suffer much higher casualties. And so the president made the very wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed. And then we would all be here answering questions about why we knew that and didn't act.
All right. So it's exactly what he said. He said that we had information that Israel was going to strike Iran, and if Israel struck Iran, then Iran would strike us. So we joined Israel to strike Iran before they could strike us because we knew that Israel was going to strike Iran. That's exactly what he said. The reason that he's walking this back now is because multiple people, including Donald Trump, are saying the opposite. Trump now has changed the story, and Rubio's fucked because Rubio went out ahead of Trump. And low energy Trump here, who I don't know if I've ever seen him so low energy, just changed the narrative. So now Rubio's left trying to play cleanup, because here's what Trump said today.
Did Israel force your hand to launch these strikes against Iran? Did Netanyahu pull the United States into this war?
No, I might have forced their hand. You see, we were having negotiations with these lunatics, and it was my opinion that they were going to attack first. They were going to attack if we didn't do it.
It was my opinion that they would attack first. That's what we're doing now? That's how we decide to go to war? It's my opinion that they would attack first, so I attacked them? Since when? When has Iran attacked and not negotiated in good faith? And this is why Rubio's scrambling today, because Rubio's like, yeah, Israel decided, and so we knew that Israel was going to strike, and so we had to strike with them, or else we'd get hit. And then Trump's like, no, actually, I pushed Israel into it. It was me. I made this call. I decided we should strike first. Not a single piece of weaponry they have could reach us. The only reason that we are in harm's way at all is, one, because we sent a bunch of our assets out there, and two, because Israel attacked. We could have told Israel, don't do that. Nah, we just needed to go to war for some reason. This is incoherent by this administration. I don't know if I've ever seen anything so inept. They can't keep their stories straight. This dumb motherfucker can't keep his story straight. He doesn't read anything. And again, he is a dumb motherfucker. He just says whatever he feels at the moment. It's entirely incoherent. And we're putting American lives at risk right now. We're putting potentially like ushering in World War III. For what fucking reason? Because the Ayatollah is a bad guy? That's what we're doing?
They were going to attack first. I felt strongly about that. And we have great negotiators, great people that do this very successfully and have done it all their lives very successful. And based on the way the negotiation was going, I think they were going to attack first.
Oh.
And
based on how the negotiation was going? Huh? There's nothing I like better, by the way, if you guys want to check out the chat, is Republicans using the words cognitive dissonance incorrectly. Guys, you just don't, I know you heard words before. Don't use them incorrectly. The negotiations weren't going well, so I thought, I decided they would attack first, so I attacked them. How would that work in court? I was having a discussion with this man at the bar, and I could see that we were not going to get anywhere. And if I didn't punch him, eventually he was going to punch me. So I punched him. That's why we're at war right now. Because Trump didn't think the negotiations, which he wasn't a part of, by the way. He just had this gut instinct that they weren't going to go well. Maybe they weren't going well because you sent over your son-in-law who has no experience and another business partner who has no experience. Perhaps the reason it wasn't going well is because your administration is full of corrupt dumbasses. Maybe that's why. Maybe they thought they should negotiate with serious people instead of Jared Kushner. Either way, we started a war. And yesterday, we were told that Israel started the war. But today, Trump's like, nah, it was me. I did this.
I didn't want that to happen. So
did he or did he not just free Venezuela? He did not. The same government is in charge. There's just one less person. Jesus Christ, get it together.
if anything, I might have forced Israel's hand. But Israel was ready and we were ready. And we've had a very, very powerful impact.
Isn't that what Trump said about Obama and Biden, that they're such weak negotiators that they would be forced to start a war because they're so bad at negotiating? Weird, Obama got a deal done. We didn't have any conflict with Iran during the Biden administration. Seems like the only one that's ever escalating things because they can't negotiate is Donald Trump. We are protecting Americans from future bombings. They can't bomb us. They have no ability to bomb us, Gary. What are you talking about? They don't have any weaponry that can reach us. Melanie said China's been stockpiling their oil since August and are providing intelligence to Iran. They knew this was coming. China is miles ahead of us. We're not winning, and we're going to get to that. But this is not a winnable war unless we're going to do actual work to do. The internet's fine.
Yeah.
A gig download, almost a gig upload.
Looks like Twitch might have came back, but it's spotty.
It's fucking annoying.
We're back. I think looks like we're back.
All right. I don't know what to do with this stuff. Everything looks good on my end. So sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to fix anything. It all looks like it's working. So we'll just keep going. It might be bad, but I liked this from Tim Burchett. Just a little 15-second clip, but Tim Burchett occasionally says things that we're all thinking. And I liked this.
Senator Lindsey Graham is now calling for the U.S. to start bombing Lebanon in response to the Hezbollah IDF action.
Lindsey hadn't seen a fist fight he hasn't wanted to turn into a bombing, right? So I just take it with a grain of salt, dude. Yes.
Said Lindsey Graham hasn't seen a fist fight. He didn't want to turn into a bombing raid. So let's take that with a grain of salt. Let's talk about Pete Hegseth this morning. Came out in full makeup with all of his gender affirming care, looking lovely as always, and gave a prepared motivational speech full of hyperbole and short on real answers here. But I want to talk about where Pete Hegseth says this war stands versus where everybody else says this war stands. As a reminder, guys, we are crowdfunded, and I know it's a shit show today with the internet connection, so I appreciate the donations that have come through. If you can help us knock out that gift goal by the end, we got about an hour and 15 minutes left. That would be greatly appreciated. Oslo said, I'm starting to think the guy who wrote Art of the Deal should be president instead of Donald Trump. Yeah, just anybody else would be fine. All right, here's Hegseth.
U.S. and Israeli air power every minute of every day until we decide it's over. And Iran will be able to do nothing about it.
Shit, this is hold on. This might be out of, I'm sorry, this might be out of order. Hold on. No, it's the right order. Okay.
B-2s, B-1s, Predator drones, fighters, controlling the skies, picking targets. Death and destruction from the sky all day long.
It's like he's doing a motivational speech. Why does he talk like that?
We're playing for keeps. Our
Playing for
warfighters have
keeps.
maximum authorities granted personally by the president and yours truly. Our rules of engagement are
Thanks,
bold,
Kelly.
precise, and designed to unleash American power, not shackle it. This was never meant.
Dude, notice how none of this means anything? It's just like, how many cliches can I get in this paragraph? None of this means anything fucking at all. I tuned in because I'm like, I want to know some specifics. Nothing.
To be a fair fight. And it is not a fair fight. We are punching them while they're down, which is exactly how it should be.
What is he talking about?
Thus far, Operation Epic Fury has delivered twice the air power of shock and awe of Iraq in 2003, minus Paul Bremer and the nation building. The campaign has 7.
Are we not nation building? I thought you guys were nation. You just told us you were nation building. Are we not nation building again now? Now we're not nation. What are we doing?
Times the intensity of Israel's previous operations against Iran during the 12-day war. 7 times.
All right. So no details there. Let's move on. I got another clip here. Nothing says Secretary of Defense or Secretary of War more than weekend Fox News host taking this time in discussing war to criticize the media for not openly filleting them.
This is what the fake news misses.
Ah, good.
We've taken control of Iran's airspace and waterways without boots on the ground.
Do we have the Strait of Hormuz covered? I don't know about that. Do we have all their waterways covered? I don't know about that. Do we? Is that true? Could you give us more specifics, please? Alfredo said for better internet. Thank you. This is the only internet option I have, which just sucks. I can't even upgrade it. Becky said extra money to piss off Israel. Thank you.
We control their fate. But when a few drones get through or tragic things happen, it's front page news.
Oops.
I get it. The press only wants to make the president look bad, but try for once.
Hold on. We control everything except for these pesky drones who keep getting through. And then the press covers those drones that get through. Yeah, that's their fucking job. Why does this administration think that the job of the press is to just jack them off publicly all the time? That's not the job of the news. They're not supposed to sit there and be cheerleaders. Why are they all so goddamn sensitive? If you work for the government and you think that you're going to turn on the news and some newscaster is going to be just blowing you, no. They're going to talk about the stuff that, the news. You know what's not news? The government did their job effectively today. That's not news. That's what they're supposed to do every day. The news is when they don't do their job. And that's what the press is there for, to hold them as a check. I know you guys watch Fox, and I know that that's what you think the news. When Republicans are in charge, Fox blows them. When Democrats are in charge, Fox criticizes them. I know that you're used to that, but that's what they're not a news organization. In court, they're like, we're not a news organization. We're clearly entertainment. You cannot take us seriously. But the press was supposed to act as a check against the government. So just turning on the news every day and going, the government has effectively used your money today, that's not news. That's just what they're supposed to do.
To report the reality. The terms of this war will be set by us at every step.
Neat.
This is what the fake news.
This isn't helpful at all. We don't need any of this. Here is an actual former colonel who's respected by the people that worked under him and maybe not respected by all of us. Maybe me particularly, on with Matt Gaetz, whose face is getting stretched all the way back now. Here's what actual general who's worked in actual wars, actually in the Middle East, unlike Pete Hegseth, has to say about how this is going.
China and Russia.
Read the supercut. So what question? Why does he have medals on a business suit coat? Oh, I didn't even notice that. I don't know. That's a good point. All right, here's General MacArthur.
China and Russia are sitting on the sidelines monitoring everything. They're in close touch with the government. They're providing satellite intelligence, which accounts for some of the tremendous successes, particularly in Israel and on our U.S. bases. All of our bases have been destroyed. Our harbor installations are destroyed. We're actually having to fall back on India and Indian ports, which are less than ideal. That's what the Navy says.
That doesn't sound like total control to me. That doesn't sound like dictating every move. That sounds like retreat.
And I think Iran, much to our disappointment, is faring very, very well. China and
everybody else thinks they're doing really well. Here's back to Pete Hegseth. Make sure you thank the people who dragged our asses into war. Thanks for getting us in this fight, guys.
To our steadfast partner, Israel, your mission is being executed with unmatched skill and iron determination.
This dude's thesaurus is worn the fuck out. Can you just talk like a human, please?
Fighting shoulder to shoulder with such a capable ally.
We're not fighting shoulder to shoulder. We don't have boots on the goddamn ground. Can you just speak like a human fucking being? Does everything have to be hyperbolic? Can you just tell us what's going on, please? And not write a children's book about it?
Is a true force multiplier.
Oh.
And a breath of fresh air.
Oh.
We salute your courage and your contribution.
So stupid. The fuck is this? There's a whole administration out there like cosplaying that they're heroes. Here's Mike Johnson telling the truth of why Republicans just support this. And based on the reporting we got the other day, that this seems to be a holy war for Pete Hegseth. You can read his book. He talked about this openly. Many people in Congress don't view this as a war about anything other than Christianity versus the Muslims. And here's Mike Johnson confirming that.
They have been, and they say the quiet parts out loud. They wanted to wipe Israel off the face of the earth, and they'd like to take us out as well. We're the great Satan in their analogy and their misguided religion, and there was no way to appease them.
They're the great Satan in your analogy. You guys, I think it was Amy that said this earlier, like it's always conservative extremists against conservative extremists. That's who fights wars. These are two of the same people. Like, who wants to control women in this country? Who wants to strip women of rights in this country? Oh, these fucking guys. And then they're like, don't you care about women's rights in Iran? Yeah, we care. And there's other people in Iran that care, but they're not the conservatives. It's you guys are both doing this. You're both fucking dog shit. Just wearing different clothes and praying to a different God. That's it. Both of your religious ideas are misguided. Can we not fight a war about religion, please? We don't give a fuck. Go play Dungeons and Dragons or some shit like that. Go sit in a room together and talk about your magic gods and figure out a different way. Like have the Olympics or something. Have a religion Olympics. Arm wrestling, leg wrestling. You can kiss each other on the mouth and not tell each other. I don't know. Anything but dragging us to war. We don't give a fuck about your religion. None of us care. I don't care about Mike Johnson's religion. Your religion forces you to like share your porn history with your kid. That's fucking weird. I don't care about your religion if you are Muslim. I just don't fucking care. It's great that you have it. You should have it. Play with it. Do whatever you want with it. But stop dragging us into your shit, please. And for the record, I understand that there's Christians here who don't want to go to war. And I understand that there's Muslims here and there's Muslims in Iran that don't want to go to war. And what happens is then we generalize the shit out of this, and you have a bunch of Christian extremists here and Muslim extremists there, and they drag our asses to war, and none of us want to go because we don't fucking care. You guys can just debate it or something. Figure out a different way. Shoots and ladders. Play Call of Duty. Anything but this. Can the rest of us who are not psychopaths just live without war and get along? Can we put you guys in a room and have you settle this on your own without us having to be involved all the fucking time? Do we have to fund your war? Do we have to? Could you just do it on your own, please? Could you guys meet up someplace? Like go meet up on an island. You can buy Epstein's island. You guys can just meet up there and do Fight Club. Radical Muslims versus radical Christians. We won't say shit about it. We're not going to pay for it, but can you guys go there and do that and take care of your shit and may the best God win, please? That'd be cool. Middle East needs me. America does too. Like, these are radical Christian, bloodthirsty psychopaths. What's the difference between Mike Johnson and the Ayatollah? What would Mike Johnson do with unlimited power? He wouldn't restrict the rights of women. He wouldn't force birth. He wouldn't take away their voting rights. He wouldn't strip away the rights of LGBTQ people. What's the fucking difference? Honestly, the main difference is that we have a structure in place that historically, or not historically, recent history has kept people like Mike Johnson from being able to do exactly what the Ayatollah is doing. It would just be under the name of a different god. I don't see a difference between them. I don't see a difference between radical jihadists and Pete Hegseth. Read his book. Read his book. He thinks it is ordained of God to fight this other religion and bring in Armageddon. Well, there's this part in my book that's very specific that the end of the world is coming. And me, Pete Hegseth, I'm the one responsible for bringing that on. And now he has this sacred duty to fight a fucking war in Iran because of his sky daddy that I don't believe in. Just go fight him yourself. Go do your thing. I don't know, maybe that's what Gaza can be. Since they're already going to take it from the Palestinians, maybe could Gaza just be a fight club for religious dipshits? Any religion you want. You can go to Gaza and you can just fight it out. That'd be so fucking awesome. But I'm tired. Like, what war are we fighting here that matters at all? I'm not afraid of Iran. None of you are afraid of Iran either. They're not hurting you. You just don't like Muslims. You've been convinced that Muslims are the bad guy. You're the good guy. You got the white Jesus. They've got brown Muhammad. So you guys are, of course, naturally enemies. You don't share the same books. So they don't even believe in the New Testament. Who fucking cares? Nobody fucking cares. Most of the world doesn't fucking care. Stop dragging us to war, please. All right. Sorry, there's so much Pete Hegseth here. But when trying to get some sort of answer on why the fuck we're fighting this war. Again, going back, Marco Rubio said, well, we're fighting this war because Israel dragged us into this war. And then Trump's like, actually, it wasn't Israel, it was me. And then other Republicans are like, it's about nukes, but they don't have nukes. And then they were like, it's about they were going to attack us. And they're like, but they can't because they don't have ICBMs. So everybody seems to be giving us a different answer. This guy Fox said, or all these MAGA politicians with Grindr accounts could just come out of the closet and stop getting blackmailed. That would be dope. Melanie said, most hilarious part is that Christianity, Judaism, and Islam all believe in the same Abrahamic God, one God umbrella over three religions. Yeah. Like, could you guys just get along, please? Could you just maybe get rid of the books that you don't like? And just I'll pick one book and stop dragging us to war. Jamie, thank you very much. Anyways, here's now the third or fourth explanation for why we're at war. Nobody can seem to get their story straight.
Thank you for taking my question. Heather Mullins, Lindell TV. One of the questions I have is just really regarding the intelligence that indicated that this was something the U.S. had to get involved with at the time that you guys did. We had Operation Midnight Hammer back in June. We obliterated their nuclear facilities. What was the intelligence that suggested that somehow they became a threat once again that required us to get involved with Operation Epic Fury?
Yeah, good question. Good question. How did we obliterate it and now they're back?
Appreciate the question. The evidence in front of us since the 12-day war was that Iran had no intention of actually negotiating a nuclear deal that truly meant they did not have a pathway to the nuclear bomb. And
they agreed to never get a nuclear bomb. They had agreed to that. So what?
They had a moment. Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, two of the best negotiators in the world, poured into that.
According to who? Jared Kushner has been bailed out of bad business deal after bad business deal. The Abraham Accords are not a peace agreement. It's a loosely tied agreement to do business with each other. I don't know in what world Jared Kushner is one of the best negotiators in the world, or Steve Witkoff. Can you guys point to anything that they've ever done that would qualify them as some of the greatest negotiators in the world? Melanie said Islam at least believes that Jesus was a prophet. True. I missed that one from Amber. Amber said, have conservatives ever looked up the tenets of Sharia law? Conservatives want it, they just call it something else. Yeah, like there's no daylight between Andrew Wilson and Sharia law. They actually want the same thing. It's just under a different God.
Negotiation, giving them every single possible opportunity to release that ambition, and they didn't. And the intelligence that we saw
except for the French and the leader of Oman and I can't remember who the other person. They've all confirmed that Iran agreed to not have a nuclear weapon. Nobody, in fact, nobody involved in I haven't heard Witkoff, I haven't heard Kushner. It would be interesting to hear what they say, because everybody else involved in those negotiations said Iran was willing to not have a nuclear weapon. So where's this information coming from?
They didn't intend to do it in good faith, that they had the intentions eventually to get to a place where they could have that.
So we believed that their negotiations were actually not in good faith, so we bombed them. This is the most, like, this is not justification for a war in any way. This is what makes this unconstitutional. There has to be an imminent threat. Nobody can tell us what the imminent threat is. The president can engage in military hostilities if there is an imminent threat. And then he has to go before Congress, and then Congress has to approve funding going forward after 60 days. But there is no imminent threat. None of them can tell us what the imminent threat is. Imminent threat can't be, we think that they're not negotiating in good faith. That is not imminent. That's not what that word means.
A conventional shield.
So you're for Iran? Jesus fucking Christ, you guys are dumb. No! I'm not for it. I'm for us. Don't bomb Iran. They weren't going to bomb us. We wouldn't have dead soldiers. I'm for us. You're for Iran. What are you talking about? Your binary brains are so goddamn broken. You can be against what the United States did and not be rooting for the other side, you 7 IQ rock. Jesus fucking Christ. There's no way that your brains are that simple. There's no fucking way that that's literally how you see the world. Of course not. I don't want to be at war. They can be in their country. We can be in our country. I don't think we should go to war over feelings and vibes. That doesn't make me pro-Iran. There's no way you're that dumb.
To block their nuclear capabilities, as I talked about yesterday. So I would separate the what from the when a little bit. The what is they've been killing Americans for 47 years. They have thousands of missiles pointed at us. They have ongoing nuclear.
Their missiles can't reach us. What the fuck are you talking about? And when have they been killing Americans? When we're in other countries, when we invade other countries and they fight back? This is not an imminent threat. If you invade a country and people shoot at you, that's not an imminent threat. You created the threat. They can aim all the missiles they want at America. None of them can reach us. This is bad. This is really fucking bad by every standard that has ever existed in America. Never have we had a conflict with so little to point to as a threat. There is literally no imminent threat. And every time they open their mouths, it becomes more and more apparent that this was just a guess.
Ambitions, and they're at the weakest they've ever been. So the when became, in a particular, hey, what makes the most sense to do this to ensure that the narrow objectives we have of ensuring.
So, okay, so they were weak. We had weakened them because we already fucking bombed them for no reason. So now they were weak, and so now we had to do it now. Before we didn't do this. Now that they're weaker, they're an imminent threat now. But before they weren't an imminent threat, but now they're an imminent threat when they're weaker. So that's why we had to hit them. This is incoherent. This doesn't make any sense unless you're just like a bootlicker. None of this makes sense.
And never have a nuclear weapon have a maximum effect.
Threat 400 kilograms of 60% enriched uranium. What could they do with that 400 kilograms of enriched uranium, of 60% enriched uranium? Remember, what does imminent mean? In order for that uranium to be a threat, it needs to get to 90%, and they need the delivery mechanism. They don't have a delivery mechanism to get that uranium to the United States. So what was the imminent threat? I don't know. I just heard that, and so I'm just saying things that I think are good points because I'm desperate to defend this administration. Before Donald Trump ripped up the Iranian nuclear agreement, what were they enriching at? What percent? 3.6 maximum. And they had held to that 3.6 standard. It had been checked. It was at 3.6, and they also agreed not to have a nuclear weapon. And Trump ripped that up, and then they proliferated. And you guys are like, yeah, that's their fault. I don't know about that. I think Israel was in danger. That's fine. Israel bombs them all the time. They're enemies. If they want to fight, they can fight, I guess. It's not our responsibility. Why the fuck are we in this fight? Iran wants to take out... You know why Iran doesn't like us? Israel. Iran wouldn't have a problem with us. This is an awful lie that got perpetrated after 9/11, and maybe before that, but it's the first time I was aware of it, is that the reason that people attacked the Twin Towers is because we have freedom and Christianity. It wasn't true. It just wasn't true. The people who attacked us on 9/11 were pissed off at us because we fucked them. Because we do this. We double deal with everybody. We cut an agreement with somebody, and then when we see a better opportunity, we abandon people that we've worked with before, and we leave them hanging. I mean, that's not justification for what happened on 9/11. I don't want to do like Hassan and be like, it was our fault. But the story that we were given as to why they did it wasn't true. They didn't attack us because we're Christians and have freedom. That was just absolute bullshit, but it worked. Good Lord, did it work. And now we have just like millions of boomers in this country. The whole reason that they hate us is because we got freedom. No, that's not why. It's because we fuck around in the Middle East all the time and we create enemies. And again, that doesn't justify what the enemies do, but we shouldn't be fucking around over there all the time. What are we doing over there? Leave people alone. Stop interfering. We don't get to go in and change people's governments because we want a better oil deal. Venezuela, by the way. You're taking the worst part. This administration is taking the most tried and failed foreign policy and just like, fuck it, let's do it again. This time it'll work. And it's not even because like, it really is like, they're just incompetent and they're dumb and they don't have good ideas and they can't negotiate because again, they're incompetent and they're dumb. And so these negotiations get back. What truly happens is people negotiate in circles around the Trump administration. They just lie right to his face. Yeah, we're totally going to send you $3 trillion for sure. It's on its way. Thanks for slapping those tariffs down. And then they knock the tariffs down and they never send any money. We don't have any of that $18 trillion. Where is it? We don't even have it. Did he knock the tariffs down for those countries? Yeah. Did they give him the money? No. They negotiate circles around Donald Trump because he's a dipshit. And then he can't hire anybody smarter than him or else he'll feel too insecure and small. So he just hires sycophants around him. And they all sit around and look at him and tell him how great he is because that's how dumb they are. Honestly, if you're in a room with Donald Trump and you think this man is elite, like intellectually, that's a problem for you. If you're listening to this man incoherently babble and with run-on sentences, never completing a thought, and you're like, that's the guy, that's on you. You're dumb. That's why these countries are running circles around him. That's why China doesn't even have to get involved. Russia is literally, there's leaked audio of Putin like mocking Donald Trump. China and Russia are laughing. They don't even have to get involved. Because the United States has been so obsessed with this big, strong military. It's like it's toxic masculinity, right? It's those guys who like they might have been athletic and then they hit the gym forever and then they're like, arms must get bigger. And then eventually like they just can't function. They just walk like this and they're like, but I got big muscle. And then you see them get in a fight and they can't punch because they have no mobility. That's the United States. Like we're shooting down $25,000 drones with $1 million missiles. And sometimes the $1 million missiles miss. Every time we fire at one of these drones, it costs us $1 million. And every time we hit one, it costs them $25,000 to $50,000. And where are those missiles coming from? These big fucking bulky trucks that we have to bring in on aircraft carriers and on planes. And then we just stationary and they drive 22 miles an hour. And we go in there like, we're going to fuck you up. And they just hit us with drones. They're not even losing lives. They just bombing us with drones. They're just the kamikaze drones. We'll get to that in a minute. And we don't know how to stop it because we're not nimble. We're like, if you look at even the topography here, understanding how tough of a war this is, like I'm not an expert on certainly I don't want to pretend to be an expert, but I know that specifically one of the problems that we had in Afghanistan is that because of the mountains and because of their people's ability to hide, and they could hide missile silos and they could hide leaders. God, there's a bug there. We had a hard time winning that war because it's just not that straightforward. If we go over to Iran here, let me get a topographical map here. You can see the Strait of Hormuz here. Like, look over at Qatar, the UAE here, Oman, Iraq, Syria. What is this? It's flat. It's desert. No water. Can't hide anything. What you don't realize is you hop over the Strait of Hormuz here, the Persian Gulf. Look at the difference between the topography of Iran. It's mountainous. You get the high ground. Anybody who's been in the military knows that's an advantage. There's an advantage here that they have, and the U.S. because these are all their this is where the U.S. is. We're stationed all right through here. We're running boats in through here. You got the Strait of Hormuz, that's a tiny little spot. We're just sitting ducks. And they get to hide all their shit up in the mountains, and then they get to fly drones at us, and we're out here rolling out like fucking tankers. Why are Iran's missile and drone strikes increasing? Exactly. Why couldn't we win in Vietnam? Why do we struggle in Afghanistan? It's the same thing. This big, bulky, we're the greatest military because we have all the technology. Yeah, that's cool. If you're over here, if you're fighting on solid ground, like if you're fighting on the same type of ground and topography, but like Iran, that's a different story over here in Iran. Am I on acid? No, Bud's back. Bud, you probably won't last long. What's up, Jen?
Does Bud ask you if you're on acid regularly?
No, he just always says weird things.
I mean, there's lots of people who are saying weird things in the comments. Figured I'd come in and hop in and remind you guys, if you think, I don't remember who it was, I think there's a John T, that you couldn't win a debate. If you guys want to come up and prove our two wrong, you can. How you do that is if you look at the Venmo username, that's my Discord. Yeah, there you are, John Terrell or whatever. If you want to prove him wrong, you can come up, send me a message on Discord, Jen with 2 N's, Dub with 2 B's, the number 1. You don't have to stay in the comments and be a keyboard warrior. You won't, because you just want to flap your gums in comments. You won't actually come up and have a conversation. But if any of you do have the balls, that's how you do that. Yeah, John, I'm talking to you. Send me a message on Discord, Jen with 2 N's, Dub with 2 B's, the number 1. Oh, no, you are. You're scared. It's okay. Anyways, so that's how you can come up and talk. I also want to remind everybody, how late are we going today?
Probably about 45 more minutes.
Okay, so we're a little ways away. I don't know if you've updated the total recently from our gift goal. Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats. Incoming the grifter comments in 3, 2, 1, I'm sure. This is how we keep the lights on and do this each day, Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 1 Pacific-ish. So if you can help us out, knock out the gold, that would be great. Subscribe wherever you are. As paid members, you can join us for members-only events. And check out the link tree in the bio. We're on most social media platforms. We've got merch, Jay's on Cameo, and we upload these episodes to Spotify. I was going to make a potato soup.
Yeah.
And it called for 5 potatoes cubed. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but 125 potatoes seems like a lot.
I got that one. All right, thanks, Jen. All right, let's get to the people who have now heard and been briefed on what's happening, and let's see how they feel. I also want to remind you of this. When people keep saying like we didn't start this war, like this was Trump after Operation Midnight Hammer. At least he's consistent.
But I thought we were going to have a situation where we were going to be attacked. They were getting ready to attack Israel. They were getting ready to attack others. You're seeing that right now.
So remember that? Remember when he admitted that the reason that we bombed them the first time is because they were getting ready to attack Israel? This puts us in a situation where we are required to just trust the government, and they can say whatever they want. And when pressed on like what is the evidence that they were going to attack, you'll notice none of them have an answer. Trump says it's just my feelings. It's a vibe. My vibe said that they were going to attack. So they're just replaying this. They've already done this once, and the reason they're replaying it is because MAGA is fucking dumb, and they just don't care. Like they can be lied to as many times as you want.
There's missiles that are hitting in. Those are stationary. Those were aimed there for a long period of time at these other countries. So I think I was right about that. We attacked first, and if we didn't, it could have been, look, we're really decimating them. They're being decimated. But I thought we were.
There we go. Right. Let's get here's Senator Schatz. So a bunch of members of Congress finally got a briefing, and as they came out from that briefing, you can see both Republicans and Democrats. Doesn't seem to be a lot of answers here. Here's Senator Schatz.
There are times when you go into a classified session and you walk out and you have a better understanding about the gravity of the situation and the rationale behind the military action. This is not one of those times. We remain as confused as the American people are. They have had 3 or 4 or 5 justifications for this act of war over the last 4 or 5 days, and nothing in this classified session alleviated that confusion.
Yeah, mass confusion. They don't seem to know. This isn't a conspiracy. This isn't they're being devious. This is legitimately they're incompetent. The entire administration is incompetent. They can't even get their messaging right. It is remarkable to watch people in real time every day still supporting this administration when it's obvious they have no fucking clue what they're doing. You'll just support it. Here's Melanie Stansbury.
Directly respond to what the speaker just said to the press, which is that Congress should stay out of it. My response is, Mr. Speaker, have you read the United States Constitution?
Liberals are always on the wrong side of everything, says Bud. Liberals have been on the right side of history, opposing every single war in this country. They're on the right side with Vietnam. They were on the right side with the Korean War. They were on the right side with Desert Storm. They were on the right side of Iraq. They were on the right side of Afghanistan. And they're on the right side of this. Conservatives, they were on the right side of the Civil War. It was conservatives who seceded from the country and wanted to keep slavery. I guess some of you probably think that's still that is the right side. But yeah, conservatives are always on the wrong side. Legitimately, 100% of the time, every bit of progress we've ever made in this country has been opposed by conservatives.
Because the U.S. Constitution is clear that the power to declare war squarely sits with Congress. And it is very clear that this administration has not put forward a viable argument for why the U.S. should be declaring war on Iran and why it has deployed military resources without.
In the chat from Republicans, while she's saying that, if we've missed it at some point, can you give us the justification for war here? Because they're not giving it, and maybe we missed it. Maybe we are just truly we don't know. Can you just tell us, Republicans in the chat, what what the justification that they gave for war was. Now, remember, you can't say shit that they didn't say. You can't make up new reasons. You got to tell us what they said. Democrats did start the KKK, and the Democrats were conservatives. See, notice how I said conservative and not Democrat? It's really stupid to use party affiliation. When you're looking at history, you should look at political ideology. And the people who started the KKK, the people who seceded from this country, those were conservatives. People who wanted to conserve or keep things the same. So when you think about opposition to conservatism, that would be progressive. So that would mean slavery. That would mean women's suffrage. That would mean civil rights. That would mean gay marriage. That would mean every war that we've ever started. It is always the conservatives who go, daddy government knows, and we got to keep things the same or everything will be bad. And they're always wrong. History always proves that they were wrong.
Congressional authorization. So let me amplify a few things that Ranking Member Meeks has put forward. First of all, has this administration provided a viable legal theory of why we should be going to war with Iran? No. Has this administration put forward a credible piece of evidence as to why there was an imminent threat that meets a legal threshold for a...
We can even do this all day, Rod. If Iran had a chance to kill all of us, they would. Well, I guess you're admitting that they don't have a chance, right? So it's not an imminent threat. So thank you for agreeing with me while calling me a moron. I don't know if you know that you're agreeing with me. And then you said Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves and he was a Republican. Yeah, revisionist history again. Yes, he was a Republican. He was a moderate, but he was more progressive. And Abraham Lincoln didn't run on freeing the slaves. Just so you know, he didn't run on ending slavery. He ended on like phasing out basically new slavery. He was appeasement. And Abraham Lincoln had to be guided in the middle of the night when he took office. He had to be escorted into the White House because he believed he was going to be assassinated for having the audacity to say, maybe we should just scale back slavery a little bit. He didn't say, I'm going to go and I'm going to fight the South and we're going to abolish slavery. Go look it up. He was not an abolitionist. But when he went into the White House, the conservatives in the South were like, he's lying. We know he's trying to get rid of slavery. And so they seceded. And then that's how the Civil War kicked off. So the Civil War was actually just the South seceding because they thought, kind of like Trump, that Abraham Lincoln wasn't actually the moderate that he claimed, that he was going to be an abolitionist. It's crazy that you wrote 3 sentences and you didn't get any of it right. All 3 sentences wrong. That's crazy. This is why we don't take conservatives seriously. You don't know history and you don't know current events. You literally know nothing. Just read. Stop talking, read.
Attacking Iran? No. Can they explain what their post-conflict plan is for rebuilding and stabilizing the region? No. Can they explain whether and how the breakdown in diplomatic efforts occurred? No. Can they explain why they hit a school full of school children and murdered over 100 school children? No. And can they...
I don't think America started slavery, but if you have to create a straw man to call me stupid, it shows how bad your arguments are.
Explain how they plan to stop the loss of U.S. service members? No. In fact, as has already been stated publicly, they expect more deaths of American service members. So the American people need to be demanding that Congress pass this war powers resolution. This is Congress's square responsibility, and we are not going to allow this administration to continue to act illegally, unconstitutionally, and without the designated authority to do what it is doing.
You're very well educated. On a matter of history, I'm very well educated, and I don't like your rhetoric. Oh, all conservatives are stupid. I've never said all conservatives are stupid. I said they're on the wrong side of history, and the conservatives here, the MAGA here, all seem to be pretty fucking stupid. So that's not what I said. Well, not my perspective. Again, you have to kind of go out of your way to take things I say out of context to be offended. I think you're just looking for something to be offended about. Now, Senator Chris Murphy. A little more aggressive here, but how many people do we have to see from the right and the left that can't explain why we're in this war before we're going to accept that perhaps we shouldn't be there?
Senate. This is as serious as it gets. This is war and peace. They told us in that room that there are going to be more Americans that are going to die, that they are not in the short run going to be able to stop these drones that are going to continue to fly into the Middle East. We have to have a debate in the United States Senate on an authorization of military force. It will likely fail. It will likely fail, and we shouldn't be voting to proceed to other pieces of legislation until we get a debate on this deeply unpopular, immoral, and illegal war with Iran. Senate. This is
All right. Now this is where we start talking about, like, is this even sensible? Is this the right one? Can we win this war? Do we have the money to win this war? This is a problem.
Has struck Al Udeid Air Base, as I said, the biggest American base in the region.
Right here.
We don't know much more. No casualties reported as of yet. Again, we don't know what we don't know, but we do know they are saying it was a ballistic missile. It's obviously a significant development. And as that is coming in, we are learning that the CIA is also working to trigger some sort of an uprising.
One missile took out the most fortified U.S. base in the Middle East. We had a radar detection system that was there that cost us $1.1 billion. And it was destroyed with one missile. A lot of you got upset when I said that we're like, our bravado and our size doesn't really seem to matter sometimes, and that the Iranians seem to be more nimble, and they seem to have exposed a lot of flaws in our strategy. One missile can take out a $1.1 billion radar system that now we will have to rebuild. What's that going to cost us? So we're talking about, like, we're not doing as well as they're trying to tell you we're doing. Travel, Amy Lynn and I suggested 2073. Don't forget to watch the trailer, post-apocalyptic movie documentary with connections to past and current events to our situation now. DM me on that too, so I don't forget. Natalie said husband lost his job due to tariffs. Fuck Trump. Jesus. How many more people? Thank you. Damien said, got a $10 tip. Here's your cut. I appreciate that, my friend. I think I got those. Check with General fast. Go. All right.
Inside of Iran. Now, this is a major and potentially explosive development in the war. So let me tell you what we know here with these breaking details. Multiple people familiar with the plan are telling CNN that the Trump administration is working to arm Kurdish forces, who they then expect to take part in a has struck out.
Right. Is that concerning to any of you, or are we just going to keep pretending like this is all fine? Are we going to keep listening to Pete Hegseth when he's like, we're dominating? I don't know that we're dominating. Again, not an expert. I would love some better information from Pete Hegseth. I would like him to tell me anything but his alliterations. He's not giving us any details, but the details that we keep learning are that we don't seem very organized. Our attacks don't seem super coordinated, and our military is being taken out by really inexpensive pieces of equipment. Are we losing? I don't know. It doesn't seem like a winnable war to me. I mean, how do we win this war? What's the end goal here? Nobody can even tell us what the end goal is. Here's Richard Blumenthal.
I just want to say I am more fearful than ever after this briefing that we may be putting.
I want to point that out. You said it's exactly what I'm talking about. Don B. Dumpies. Bro, they still wipe their ass with their bare hands. No, they don't. But you said we have equipment that civilians aren't privy to know about. Great. But how come they're able to take out our military base with one missile? Why are we shooting down $50,000 drones with $1 million missiles? You're proving the point here. You're just like, oh, no, we just are the best. We have the best equipment, so we will win. Okay, then Why are they taking out so much of our stuff? How are they killing our people? How are they hitting our bases? How are we unable to stop these kamikaze drones? And that's what we're going to get into here now in a minute.
I just want to say I am more fearful than ever after this briefing that we may be putting boots on the ground and that troops from the United States may be necessary to accomplish objectives that the administration seems to have. But I also am...
Is that a good idea? You guys want boots on the ground here?
No more clear on what the priorities are going to be of the administration going forward, whether it is destroying the nuclear capacity of Iran or simply the missiles or regime change or stopping terrorist activities. And I think the administration owes it to the American people to have briefings not just for members of Congress but for the American public. Nothing here should have been classified. It should be available to the American people.
Which is scary, because if nothing that they're saying in there is classified, means that they don't really have a real reason outside of what they've already told us as to why they're invading. Now, if you don't want to trust Blumenthal, like, here's Comer. Comer's saying the same thing. Like, yeah, we might have to put boots on the ground.
Keep a lot of cards close to the vest on this, but we've already lost 6 troops, sir. The president says he does expect more. A lot of Americans and military families want to know if their loved ones are about to be deployed to Iran for this.
What guy lied about being a soldier? Joseph or Comer? I don't think Comer did that. Blumenthal? Is Blumenthal stolen valor? Blumenthal didn't have stolen valor, did he? I don't think Comer did either.
He does expect more. A lot of Americans and military families want to know if their loved ones are about to be deployed to Iran for this. Will there be boots on the ground? The president has yet to rule that out.
Well, I certainly hope
Blumenthal did? I didn't know that.
Not. If there are boots on the ground, I hope they're not on the ground any longer than the boots on the ground were in Venezuela. But I think that that's something the president knows that members of Congress certainly hope doesn't happen, but sometimes that's unavoidable in a situation like this. And you mentioned 6 troops had lost their lives. Some had been from Fort Knox in Kentucky, my home state. So, you know, we're devastated, and obviously our thoughts and prayers are with the families.
Yeah, interesting. I didn't know that about Blumenthal. Although he was in the Marine Corps during Vietnam, he never deployed, and he made multiple claims about serving in Vietnam. I was unaware of that. Thank you. Axe said, I read that one already. Let's see. Fuck unfettered capitalism and religion. Seriously. Thank you. Wasn't me. Get that. All right. Let's get Senator Kelly in here. 6, again, I said 4 earlier, but 6 U.S. service members now killed and based entirely on an imminent threat that nobody can explain to us yet. So to those parents of those 6 soldiers, like, how do we explain that? Here's Senator Kelly with, this is, I remember his name. I think I wrote it down here. Elbridge Colby. He is the Undersecretary of Defense.
Because,
in concert
but
with
here's the thing, Mr. Secretary. None of us here heard about Iran having missile technology that was that advanced, being able to range the United States, or being close to obtaining a nuclear weapon. I mean, the last thing we heard from the president on the nuclear weapon before, this war, as he calls it, was the Iranian nuclear program was obliterated. That means completely eliminated, gone for good. That's what obliterated means. And then on Saturday, this administration started a war on that basis, inconsistent with the document that I think you're responsible for. And now, at least 6 U.S. service members have paid the ultimate price, based on this notion that Iran posed an imminent threat to the United States, to the homeland, and to our military. and many more are risking their lives right now to eliminate a threat that 6 weeks ago, when you published that document, you didn't really believe existed.
Senator, I think it's demonstrably untrue that the strategy didn't countenance the potential for the president to use military force against Iran. In fact, it appears several times.
Could you speak into the microphone?
Oh, I'm sorry. Senator, I think it's demonstrably untrue that the document didn't countenance the provision of credible military options for the president to use force again. In fact, it specifically refers to that on a number of occasions. So obviously, I think the military campaign that's underway, Operation.
Yeah, but wouldn't you think that that would be a primary theater that we would be focused on in the document if that threat, that imminent threat to the homeland existed?
I think
Again, what imminent threat, right? This is what everybody's been asked this question, and I'm not a soldier. This isn't my area of expertise, but it seems like at some point one of these people could explain what the imminent threat was. If you can't explain it to us, I think you've got a problem. Thanks, Jen Starr.
The document countenances the employment by the president of military force globally as part of the strategy.
Well, I'm about out of time, but I think it's important to say that we've seen this playbook before. It's what dragged us into a war decades ago, a bloody war in Iraq. And Secretary Colby, I think if you intend to avoid this mistake again, I think we got to rethink about how we need to be really straight with the American people about what's going on. Thank you.
Yeah, it doesn't need it. Like, it shouldn't be something that it's not top secret. They're clearly saying it's not top secret. They're legitimately, every one of these people is saying, like, there's not really an imminent threat. Like, Trump's feelings were the imminent threat. He felt threatened, and so now we're spending billions of dollars in which will be soon, very quickly, be trillions of dollars in Iran. Money that we don't have. We're stealing, we're stealing money from poor people to give to rich people already, as it is in this country. And now this. All right, let's see. This was interesting. This was a really good reporting by CNN. And again, feel free to help me on this. But these are just a look at some of the targets that have been hit by Iranian strikes up through yesterday. Now, somebody was messaging to debate. I don't think we disagree. So I just want to say this. Shaggy, I'll just show this, Shaggy, so that you have it. Said, I'm listening to the show, consider myself a classic lib. I disagree with the number of missile and drone attacks is going down. I disagree the number of missile and drone attacks is going down. I don't disagree with you there. I think you said the war doesn't seem winnable. I think we agree on that, and the goals are bad. That's all I'm saying. Like, I can't really figure out what the goals are here, but I do want to show that the Iranians are able to penetrate our forces a lot easier than Pete Hegseth is saying. So I think we probably agree on that. So there's no need for debate. But thank you for sending that graphic. Here's CNN and cue the people in the chat calling it fake news already, showing some of these missile hits.
Qatar saying an Iranian ballistic missile has struck Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. That is the largest military installation for the United States in the entire Middle East. And it comes as a new CNN investigation is now looking specifically at the American targets hit.
Killing the SL is just radicalized, untold numbers. Yeah.
So far by Iranian strikes, every single one of them. Tamara Klablawi is out front.
Imagery showing the extent of the damage to U.S. military facilities across Gulf Arab countries is starting to emerge, part of Iran's furious response to an Israeli-American campaign that decimated its leadership. At least 9 U.S. military positions have been hit in less than 48 hours. These are relatively close targets. They're much nearer to Iran than its usual target, Israel. That proximity may give Iran's missiles and
this isn't about imminent threats. It's about removing players from the board who can stop Israel from expanding beyond its borders. Yeah.
drones a
Probably.
better chance of hitting their targets. This is the port of Shuaiba.
Or at least it's part of it.
9 a.m. on Sunday morning, an Iranian strike set a makeshift U.S. operations center at the civilian port ablaze. 6 American service members were killed in the attack. You can see smoke rising from the fire. The blown-out 3-wide trailer blackened on the inside. There are few signs of fortification. In another attack, a drone, this appears to be the Arash-2, crashes into U.S. positions in Camp Buring. A building severely damaged. American helicopters parked inside the base were nearly hit. In Bahrain, a Shahid attack drone flies into the base that hosts the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet, one of the largest.
Doesn't it seem like we have no defense for that? I don't know. Somebody can explain it to me. It seems like these drones are just pretty easily able to get into our space and attack.
American naval formations in the world. It looks alarmingly defenseless. The drone hits one satellite communication terminal, clearly seen here. But the scale of the damage is more obvious here, warehouses and other buildings damaged. And another satellite communication terminal destroyed in a separate attack. We see this pattern of targeting throughout the region. At least 5 satellite communication terminals were destroyed. It points to a possible Iranian effort to cut US bases off from the outside world. Iran used an unprecedented barrage of missiles and drones. US Patriot missiles and other multi-billion-dollar air defense systems shot most of these out of the sky. But the ones that got through were enough to puncture the veil of security around oil-rich Gulf Arab states and the heart of America's security infrastructure in the Middle East.
Now the question is, just how long can Iran sustain these attacks? That depends on how big their stockpiles of missiles and drones are, which is currently unknown. And really, Aaron, it comes down to how quickly can the US and Israel achieve their stated objective of obliterating the missiles. Until that happens, Iran has made it clear that in the aftermath of the...
I mean, I don't even know what that looks like. What does it look like, obliterating the missiles? How will we know when that's done? But shut up. But this is again, it's this binary that some of you live in. I'm not in Iran. I'm not defending Iran. I am simply speaking as an American to the damage that this is doing to America. Not only the lives that we're losing, the money that it's costing, and the inability of our administration to tell us the truth. And if your reaction to that is show both sides, then I'm afraid that you're not on the same page here. I'm afraid you don't understand what we're talking about here. You have to remove yourself from binary thinking about everything. We criticize America as Americans. I'm not an Iranian. I don't know what it's like over there. I'm not criticizing them. I don't know. Maybe we've done way more damage to them. I don't know why the fuck we're there. You don't know why the fuck you're there. So the question then becomes, is if you don't know why we're there, and I don't know why we're there, and if you don't know the objective, and I don't know the objective, then why the fuck are you mad at me? How is it that you're viewing me as your enemy right now? Our government is our collective enemy right now. Our government is the group of people who aren't telling us the truth. And you're getting mad at me for asking our government to be comprehensible. I want to know what the fuck they're doing. I want to know what the fuck they're talking about. I don't want them to give me 15 different fucking answers for what they're doing. And it is bizarre to me that we are so fucked as a country that an entire 2.5 hours of this show where we're simply just pointing out that you don't know and I don't know because they don't know because their answers are all different. And somehow your response to that is, I better be upset at this guy because I don't think he likes Trump. So that's what we need to be upset about. It's very confusing to me. Sitting here and watching the chats, it's incredibly confusing to me. How is it that you are, one, so okay with being lied to, and two, why are you upset at the people who are pointing out the lies? Maybe this is just me. Like, this happens in life. Sometimes people in your life are being lied to. You tell them, and they get mad at you for exposing the truth. I guess that's who you are. It may have something to do with patriarchy. It may have something to do with childhood wounds. May have something to do with cuckery. I don't know what it is, but your inability to hear criticism about Donald Trump and this administration and valid criticism, which is across the board, right and left are giving valid criticism of this, that they can't give an answer. And your choice is to get mad at the people who are exposing that. I don't know if it's like internally this bothers you, like you don't want to admit that you got duped or what it is, but it's bizarre being on this end of it to see people like, oh, dude, you just fucking love Iran. No, I live here, and those people work for us. Like my taxes go to pay them. I work in media. It's my job to hold them accountable. And if you try and hold a Republican accountable, they're like, you are a traitor. This is treason. We can't answer the questions either, but why don't you just shut the fuck up and believe like we believe? Just trust in Donald Trump. I don't have that in me. Maybe that's my own childhood trauma. Who knows? All right. I want to show this. This is interesting. I went and I watched this guy's channel this morning. His name is Professor Jiang. He is a Chinese-Canadian educator. He's a historian, a geopolitical theorist. He's based in Beijing, so I know a lot of you aren't going to like what he has to say, and he's clearly has some bias here. He has a YouTube channel called Predictive History, and the video I watched this morning, I can show it to you before I show this clip. It's about 45 minutes long, but you may want to check this out. It was incredibly enlightening, and it matched a lot of what I've heard from members of the armed forces here in America, like we showed General, whatever his name was. What was the general I showed earlier? I remember his name. Where's my history? There it is. MacArthur was the name. This is one I saw. It's, if you go to Predictive History, it's Game Theory number 9, the U.S.-Iran War. But he was on with Crystal and Sagar, and he's made 3 big predictions last year, and it looks like he's right. And the reason I show this is because, again, not an expert. I recommend going and watching his video, and you'll understand, and then compare it to what you're hearing from like U.S. intelligence. And I'm telling you, it's not that different. The fact that he is a Chinese national makes probably a lot of people not want to trust him, but go compare it, and it's not that different.
1, that Trump would win. 2,
start that up.
You made 3 big predictions. 1, that Trump would win. 2, that he would start a war with Iran. And 3, that the U.S. would lose that war. It's quite a stunning prediction. You know, do you stand by it?
The reality is that right now, it's a war of attrition between the United States and Iran. And the Iranians have been preparing 20 years for this conflict. And now they have a pretty good strategy of how to weaken and ultimately destroy the American empire. So what the Iranians are doing is they're waging war against the...
This is going to be like a 3-minute video. Jen just wants me to remind you, we do have to wrap up in like 10 minutes. Jen says, if we knocked out a dollar train, we'd finish off that gift goal. I appreciate you guys. I'll read all the comments when this is done.
Entire global economy. And so they are striking the GCC countries. They're going after the critical energy infrastructure. They blocked off the Strait of Hormuz. And eventually, they will go after the water desalination plants, which...
Now, this is something I didn't know very much about. This is something I learned today, actually, from one of his videos. And then I went and I found the graphic that he used. And here's something I was unaware of. If Covey's here, she'll probably tell me I should have known this already. Can I zoom here? Let's zoom in. If I click on it. I don't know how well you can see this, but this is the water stress in the Middle East. And there, if you go back to the map that we showed you earlier, there's clearly not a lot of water in the Middle East. And so what these percentages are is your stress level. And you want to be below 100%. If you look at Iran, not necessarily great, but they're at 72%. But look at Saudi Arabia, 883%. Iraq, 109%. Egypt, 6,400. Sudan, 673%. Libya, 817. They are reliant on not only desalinization, which is taking the salt out of water to make it so that you can drink it, but they're also reliant on the Strait of Hormuz so that they can be fed. If you go look at that landscape, hard to grow food there, hard to raise animals there. And so if you cut this off and you look at some of these countries, these are some of the countries that we've tried to bring in through the Abraham Accords, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Oman, Yemen, and they're known as the GCC, which is like the Gulf. So what is it? Gulf country coolness. I can't remember what the GCC is. But basically, Iran, if they can shut off the Strait of Hormuz, they can starve these people and they can cut off their water supply. And when you think outside of just that, think about the connections that we have and the reliance that we now have on the UAE and on like Dubai and the amount of investments that they have in this country. Think of the amount of Americans and Europeans who have moved to this part of the world and they've brought their money with them. These countries aren't wealthy necessarily on their own. They're bringing in more investment now. Yeah, they have oil money, but if these countries start to collapse, if we take away their food and their water, they will crash our markets as well. And you're seeing this already. You're seeing it. They're heavily invested in cryptocurrencies. If you start to hurt these countries, it can crash our markets. And who benefits from crashing our markets? China and Russia. And they're working with Iran. So if you know that this war with Iran is very difficult to win, if you know that it is going to take a long time, why fight it? All China and Russia have to do is help them extend this war as long as possible, and they can bring us to our knees. They can shut us down. They can bury our markets. And that's what they want to do. That's what China wants to do. They don't care that they don't notice they're not over there. They're not stepping in like we did. The United States gets wrapped into this war with Israel, and we come a running with all of our weapons, not China. China just lays back. They're like, all right, well, fuck you economically. It's a problem. If you don't think this is a problem, go look at our markets. Watch what happens. If you think for 1 second that the Chinese government isn't significantly smarter than our government, I don't know what you've been watching, especially this government. This is a bunch of bloviating blowhards with daddy issues running our government. These are not the best of the best. They're not great business leaders. They're not great negotiators. They're not great politicians. They're just people who got rich. And most of them that got rich in like pretty shady ways. A lot of like with Scott Bessant, for example, manipulating currency. Donald Trump by just like fucking people over his whole life in real estate. The Chinese government has been preparing for this forever. They've been investing in their own infrastructure. And they're in a better position right now to deal with this than we are. What happens if you cut off Chinese oil? It hurts them, right? But they've invested heavily in other forms of energy. What if you cut off our oil? We're fucked. Especially with this administration who's like, we're not going to do renewable energy. Congrats, you're a fascist spy getting paid by China. Thank you. See what I mean? This is like the conservative mind. If you have the audacity to say that America is not perfect, or that America is in over their skis, instead of thinking like, are they? Let me look into this. They just immediately go, America's the best, America's the greatest, you must be a fascist spy. I'm not a spy. I don't want China to win. I would like us to win, which is why I can't figure out why the fuck we're here. And I've asked you guys all day to explain to me why we're here, and none of you can explain it either. And that should be troubling to you. I realize that for most of your life, things have just worked out for the United States of America, and I think that they will work out. But you know why it keeps working out? Because Republicans wind up getting removed from office. They leave. That's why. Then somebody comes in and cleans up the mess. And we pile shit on top of shit on top of shit, and now we have a shit mountain here. But every time a Republican comes into office, things get substantially worse on a global scale and economically here as well. So I don't know. If I were you, I wouldn't be super thrilled about this war in Iran that nobody can explain.
the lifeblood of these nations because they don't have fresh water supply. The Iranians are actually threatening the very existence of Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar. And why this is important is that the Gulf states are really the linchpin of the American economy. So what they do is they sell petrodollars and then they recycle the petrodollars back into the American economy through the investments in the stock market. And right now, we know that the entire American economy is propped up by AI investments in data centers. And a lot of that comes from the Gulf states. So
All right. Let's talk about that. We've been talking on this channel for a long time about how our economy is one big, stock market, is one big gamble on AI. The money that we're counting on to invest that Trump keeps pointing to comes from these Middle Eastern countries. What if they don't have the money anymore? What if we don't have the energy production? Then what do? We can't keep pumping money into these companies because we run out of money. They're not going to invest money anymore. We run out of energy. Then what do? We're just going to run up energy costs to keep our stock market afloat and have everybody paying $10 gas? Why didn't China do this? How come China didn't create bloated AI companies to try and win this AI race? I don't think the AI race is really that real, to be honest. I don't think it matters if we're first. I think it's bullshit, and I think China's played along. And China's done it in a far more effective way. Ironically, what China has done is kind of like what China did to us. Right? We developed all this stuff. We spent all this money developing technology, and then China's like, we'll make that for cheaper. And then they took it. And then what did the US do with like NVIDIA? We created these awesome GPUs, and China's like, cool. Well, we'll wait. Go ahead and invest all that money. We'll get those GPUs. There's nothing you can do to stop us. And now we do know that China has our most powerful GPUs, even though they're restricted, even though we're not allowed to sell them. NVIDIA's not allowed to sell them, but they just figured out workarounds. You could suddenly India and Pakistan had them, and then China just bought them from India and Pakistan. Then you had these like third-party resellers popping up in Europe and in I guess I was probably just in Europe. I think is the only one I know of. And China just bought from them instead. And so China didn't have to develop all these GPUs, but now they have access to them. And so now you can compare like ChatGPT and DeepSeek. Well, DeepSeek costs, I don't know what they're at now, but let's say 15 million. And ChatGPT cost $1 trillion. It's easy for China to recoup their investment. Super easy. The Anthropic, OpenAI, they're never going to recoup that investment. Eventually, that's got to crash, right? Or we have to keep pumping money into it to keep it artificially high. And if we're getting just as good of results from places like DeepSeek as we are from ChatGPT, and China has access to all the components that they need, they can build out exactly what we're doing cheaper. And they have renewable energy. So they have better energy resources. You tell me what's going to stop our economy from crashing. How are we going to keep these AI companies afloat? And how does this war help that? Does it put us on a faster timeline for them collapsing, or does it extend it? Because it seems like it's putting us on a faster timeline to collapse, which is why China and Russia are being very, very quiet right now. They're just like, I can't believe he's doing it. I can't believe it. He's just going to tank it on his own. We don't have to do anything. We can just watch Donald Trump fuck this whole thing up because he's an idiot. Yeah, and then you guys are like, he's not an idiot, I swear. Trust the process.
If the Gulf states are no longer able to sell oil and they're no longer able to finance AI, this AI bubble in the United States, then this AI will
Rebecca, yeah, we'll drop this in Discord. Thank you. Tanya, thank you very much. Alyssa, thank you.
burst, and with it will burst as well the entire American economy, which is really a financial Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, sir, an Amazon data center was literally hit in the UAE. Now, we also wanted to talk to you about munition. The United States is racing to accomplish Iran mission before munitions run out.
The United States.
Thanks, Rana. Danny, wasn't me, Victor, and Bear, and Robin.
Its military is not designed to fight a 21st century war. Remember, the military-industrial complex came to being after World War II, and it was designed to fight the Cold War. And the Cold War was really about muscle flexing, who was to first get the person on the moon. And so the entire American military strategy revolves around very sophisticated technology that costs a lot of money to build. And that's what the American air defense system is. And that's why we're seeing this asymmetry in this war, where you have these $1 million missiles trying to take out these $50,000 drones. And it's not sustainable in the long term. And so what we're seeing is really the puncturing of the aura of invincibility that sustained American hegemony for the past 20 years.
You don't think? What do you mean ChatGPT didn't cost what I said it would? How much investment? It's hard to get exact numbers because they are private. 110, that's 160, 90, 220, 260. I don't know, $300 billion they've taken in investment for OpenAI. It's a lot more than what was DeepSeek. Wasn't DeepSeek like 10 million? Pretty significant. It's a big difference, especially when you have to then tie revenue to that, and you have to figure out how to pay out those investors. It's not. I mean, it's not very efficient, right? Amy Lynn, trust the process. It's coming in 2 weeks. That's right. Don't worry, guys. We'll have an answer from the Trump administration in 2 weeks. It'll totally make sense. I think I got everything. Let me check with Jen real quick. Got that. All right, I think we're good. All right, guys, we'll be back tomorrow morning, every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. to, 8:30 a.m. to noon Pacific Standard Time.
We've got Sully's Antifa Deuce.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate you, Sully. 8:30 a.m. to noon Pacific Standard Time, right here, wherever you're watching today. I guess we'll see if tomorrow is a shit show again. We may just start doing just YouTube and Twitch. It seems like once we got rid of Kick and TikTok, everything was fine. So we may just start doing that. You can catch the replays on YouTube or Twitch, wherever you're watching now. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all those places. We have merch in the bio you can check out. If you want to become a paid subscriber, you can do that on YouTube or Twitch. And that gives you access to our members-only events, which our next movie night will be Monday. I think I'm leaning towards whatever movie that we said before. It was like 2073 or some shit like that. I'm going to watch the trailer, and I'll announce tomorrow what our movie night is going to be. Other than that, thank you guys so much for your support. Make sure that you are subscribed so that when we go live, you get it. Turn on your notifications. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your friends. Take care of your family. Go outside and touch grass. If you can't touch grass, smoke grass. If you can't smoke grass, best of luck to you. Say nice things about yourself. Stay cute and cool, and have a great summer.